Welcome into Gateway Gator Productions from Antimarino Stadium for a 5A non-conference matchup between 0-2 Gateway and 1-1 Plum. I'm Josh Yorish here alongside Nathan Breisinger to get you ready for this rivalry matchup. We talked to head coach of Plum, Matt Morgan, before this thing, and he said it's not a rivalry until both teams are competitive. They've played 13 times in the last 23 years. Gateway is 13-0 in those matchups. The last time Plum won this matchup was 2001, but the Mustangs could have a chance to win.
Yeah, this is the best shot they've had in quite a while, and Plum 1-1 on the year, coming off of a Franklin Regional win to open the season, and then a tough overtime loss. But they get some players that are back, that were suspended and out from last game, and now under the direction of quarterback John Nonnenberg, have a really good shot here. One of the top passers in the WPIAL right now. Second in the WPIAL in touchdown passes with 7 on the year. So the Plum offense under new offensive coordinator Marty Steele looks in good shape through 2 weeks.
And it's going to be maybe a new look offense on the Gateway side as well. Potentially a quarterback injury with Elvis Koutsakis. They played 3 quarterbacks last week against North Allegheny, and it's just an open question right now what we're going to see from Gateway on the offensive side.
Yeah, Gateway obviously had its struggles for the first 2 weeks with some tough losses. Shutout last week's only 8 yards on 15 completions, but now, or on 15 attempts, but now there's a chance that we may see another couple quarterbacks under center for Gateway. Mayson Mitchell an option, Jackson Smith an option for the Gators, so we'll just have to see what happens when Don Hall rolls out his offense here.
Yeah, saw both of them last week, and an 0-2 start for Gateway isn't exactly disastrous when you consider the opponents, State College and North Allegheny, and that's something Coach Don Hall said to us when we talked in pregame as well, that they're not afraid to play those opponents. They tell the WPIAL, we'll play whoever you give us, 5A, 6A, whatever, and that's why they maybe end up with the North Allegheny matchup. Do you think that's something that can prepare them for, okay, now you're playing a 5A team that's more your competition level to perform a little better?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, North Allegheny is a really tough opponent. Obviously, you get shut out there. You have Lincoln Hoke on the defensive line, a Pitt commit, plenty of other talented playmakers. Corey Pitts in that secondary for North Allegheny, and Gateway just could not get the offense moving, so that's going to be key tonight to get the offense moving. But, yeah, that prepares you for a game like this against Plum, and, you know, it's just 2 really tough opponents, but at the end of the day, yeah, they're going to be better suited from those matchups.
And looking at the Plum defense, because they lost to Latrobe last week, 42-35, a shootout in that one, and they were missing some players to suspensions. They have a virus going through the team that maybe kept a couple players out of that game. They're going to have those guys back, but this is maybe a defense that Gateway can get right against.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a team that has allowed 27.5 points per game on defense so far throughout the first 2 games. Latrobe, you know, not maybe as good as they once were a few years ago when they had a really good year, made the playoffs, but this Plum defense could be susceptible to this Gateway team, and Gateway's going to need to start off with a couple of really good drives here to really get some momentum rolling and bounce back from these 2 tough weeks to start the season.
And in terms of a rivalry matchup and long history, obviously these 2 teams not sharing a conference anymore. Gateway in the Big East, Plum in the Northeast. But they're neighbors, they play quite often. Another neighbor of Plum's who's in the Big East with Gateway, Franklin Regional, they were able to get off the schneid against the Panthers in week 0, beating them for the first time in 7 years. So it feels like maybe a little bit of a resurgent year for the Mustangs all around.
Yeah, absolutely. And to start off two games in 3 weeks with rivals, I mean, these 2 teams here, Gateway, Plum, just 7 miles apart, but I love what Matt Morgan, the head coach of Plum, said. Read in an article from before the season. He said, you know, this team feels a lot like the 2020 team, which made the playoffs, started out 8-0, and then lost in the semifinals to Thomas Jefferson during that COVID season. But he sees a lot of resemblance between those 2 teams. So, you know, that says a lot. It's a testament to what this team can do, and now they have a chance to go out and have their first win against Gateway since 2001. Quite a while for that one coming.
And both teams trying to turn things around from last season. Gateway, of course, missing the playoffs with that 3-7 season. Dealt with injuries at the quarterback position as well. Elvis Koutsakis dealt with an ankle injury last year. Not sure the extent of the injury this year, but it seems like he could be out here in week 2. So more of a rotation there, and potentially, as we talked about, a freshman Mayson Mitchell taking over. When you run such a spread offense attack that Gateway likes to, try to get the ball out quickly, they may need to hold his hand through potentially a first start if it is Mitchell that gets the ball.
Yeah, they have a couple of young options, and Mitchell is one of them that had a couple of pass attempts last week.
That's baptism by fire against NA.
Exactly, yeah. That's a tough matchup, and like I said, that secondary is really good. That D-line's really good. And Plum, their strength's on the D-line. So you got to be able to protect whomever it is at quarterback and allow them to get the ball out, because if they're facing pressure, it's going to be a really tough day at the office.
Somebody who's a big part of that protection for Gateway, Kyan Mbandi, the Bucknell recruit, who is out there right now for the coin toss. And he's going to be somebody that's a real key in the trench play for this one, and just always somebody to keep an eye on, number 54, the senior 6'3", 280 pounds for the Gators.
Yeah, and Bondi might have to be the difference maker tonight if Gateway wants to give him a tough test for Plum. And Bondi, I mean, the Bucknell commit had an RMU offer, and he's just an excellent two-way player, all-conference nomination last year. So that's going to be the key for Gateway, especially as they deal with some of these tough lumps that they've taken through the first 2 weeks.
Gateway to return the opening kickoff. Plum ready to send it deep. Our officials for tonight, the referee Dave Opanowski, umpire Mike O'Donnell, head linesman Chaz Simone, line judge Matt Stevenson, side judge Bob Johns, and field judge Ron Schwennen. It'll be Austin Kolankowski, the kicker, to send it deep for the Mustangs. Stammer back deep, catches it on the goal line, and he's going to take it out of the end zone, looking to that left side, up past the 15, but brought down. A nice tackle by the coverage unit for the Mustangs. Getting there was Jake Ligo, the sophomore linebacker, who made a nice play on it, and it's not great starting field position for the Gators.
No, not the best starting field position, but this is a pivotal first drive to see how this offense can respond again after those two tough opponents. Now you get a chance to take on a Plum team that you've had a lot of history with and a lot of successful history in winning. Starts up front, and speaking with Don Hall, as we did earlier this week, he said things haven't been very sharp. They haven't taken care of the football. Those two things need to be cleaned up.
Jackson Smith getting the start at quarterback, the junior. The give is up the middle to Tristan Houston, the senior running back. A modest gain of 4. It'll set up 2nd and 6 for the Gators. Smith from the shotgun. Houston to his right. Moorefield goes in motion. The give is to Houston again. Bottled up. Nowhere to go. Benjamin Stricklin making the play for the Mustangs.
Yeah, that defensive front from Plum again, that's their strength for this Mustangs team. You see Stricklin getting in that hole, getting off his block and getting in there to make that tackle for another short gain for Houston.
Set up 3rd and 6. Passing situation for Smith. Had one attempt last week against NA. Moorefield goes in motion. Play action to Houston. Smith wants to tuck it, and he falls forward. That'll bring up 4th down. Looking like a 3 and out on the first possession for the Gators.
Stop by 8.
On Smith's first look here, he had Stammer open, Jaden Stammer, number 8. But Stammer wasn't looking, so I don't think he was a little reluctant to let that one go, and then keeps it and doesn't go much further than that. So quick 3 and out for the Gators here.
Smith back to punt. Fielded by Humphries. Sloan Humphries making his way into Gateway territory, and that'll set up Plum at the 35-yard line of the Gators. So great starting field position for the Mustangs after that 3-and-out.
Yeah, that's the biggest takeaway from that first drive. You don't move the ball, and now you give Plum really good field position. Sloan Humphries able to slip through a couple of tackles. He's one of the top playmakers for the Mustangs, and he'll be active all game long.
Now our first look at this revamped Mustangs offense led by John Nonnenberg, the junior quarterback. He's in an empty set right now with a bunch to the boundary. Humphries comes in motion across the formation. Nonnenberg looks his way, and they can't make the connection in the flat. Trying to get an easy completion to get the quarterback started, but just a little bit out of Humphries' reach that time.
Yeah, that's been his top connection throughout the first 2 weeks. Humphries had 98 yards in that first game against Franklin Regional in that win. So he'll be a guy looked to throughout the contest.
As you mentioned, Nonnenberg with the 7 touchdown passes, also has 397 passing yards. Now he'll go under center for 2nd and 10. Give is up the middle, and Kyan Bondi swallows the running back up immediately.
Jackson over the middle.
Elijah Jackson with the carry that time.
There you see just right off the jump, and Bondi unblocked. I mean, I don't know if you want to be leaving him untouched for most part of this game, because he'll be there in a hurry. And the first running opportunity for Plum shut down quickly. E.J. Jackson, C.J. Hart, a little 1-2 punch they have on the ground game for the Mustangs.
Back to shotgun for 3rd and 11. Humphries gets it quick, makes one man miss, and then dragged down from behind by Casey Carter, the talented linebacker for Gateway. It was Ian Woods in coverage initially, and that'll set up 4th and medium.
Yeah, just a quick out pass there to Humphries, and what a tackle there by Carter to bring him down, but
strong hands from Carter.
Yeah, and about 4th and medium here, so looking like you're a little too far probably for a field goal. So
kind of no man's land. It looks like they're going to leave the offense out there. Shotgun look again for Nonnenberg, flanked by Jackson to his left. 3 receivers to the field. He's going to roll that way. Looking for Humphries, and it's nearly intercepted, but on 4th down, it'll be a turnover either way. Tyree Gowder in coverage, and he was blanketing Humphries.
Really good defense all around there from Gateway. They had everything blanketed. Nonnenberg really not much of an option, and tries to go to his guy Humphries there and almost jumping it. Oh. Right there, as you mentioned, Gowder could have been going the other way. Well, he was leaning a little bit, but still. So
Gateway now their 2nd possession with Smith at quarterback. What's it going to look like? Because he seemed a little one read and wanting to tuck it. Maybe get him involved in the running game is a good way to get your new quarterback comfortable. Yeah,
absolutely. Get him moving around a little bit. Also, just get him a quick touch. Get him a quick throw. Someone that can just quickly get open. Maybe a running back out of the backfield.
Flanked by Houston again. The give is to Houston, trying to bust it outside. Had a little bit of space, but that disappeared quickly. Tavion Rupert was there to clean it up.
Houston just bouncing outside to that left, fending off
Kenneth Smith, the linebacker.
Originally, but a good chunk on 1st down. 4 yards there for the Gators.
Smith takes a snap from the shotgun again. Fakes the give, and that's over the head of Moorefield. Trying to throw over the middle. Looking like maybe an RPO type of situation, giving the quarterback the option to pull it out and throw it. Had the receiver open, just not able to make the connection.
And there's Moorefield, number 3 for Gateway, the leading receiver last year. He didn't put up any numbers, not sure if he played at all in those first 2 games, so good weapon for Gateway to get back after missing those opening 2 games of the year.
Screen goes to Jaden Stammer rather. Nearly breaks the tackle, but brought down by Kenneth Smith again, so the linebacker all over the place. on that possession, and it's going to set up 4th and short near midfield. And that's exactly what you talked about, getting the ball out of Smith's hands quickly.
Yeah, just a quick little screen there to Stammer, able to climb up to almost the 40. Yeah, puts it at 4th and 1 here.
They're going to keep the offense out there. Bunch formation to the boundary on the near side. Wide receiver singled up near the top of the screen. The give is to Houston up the gut, and it looks like he's going to have it. Needed the 40, got about the 42 or 43. And Gateway has its first down of the night.
Houston has averaged 5.6 yards per carry coming into this game, and so far, a couple of okay runs, but gets a good big pickup there that they needed. Not a ton of yardage, but enough to get over the first down.
4 receivers set for Gateway. Drop back for Smith. Has some pressure, able to evade it, keeping his eyes downfield. Now he's going to scramble and hit from behind. Able to pick up a couple of yards. Matthew Nelson was there to give Smith a pretty good lick at the end of that run, but it's going to set up 2nd and 5.
So starting to see this confidence from Smith. Sitting back there a little bit, drops back, and then sees that pressure right away. Has to get out of there, and then Plum and company, Nelson able to keep coming from all the way from behind. And Nelson, one of the guys that was suspended last game, part of that mix-up in the Franklin Regional opener. Had a couple of guys, Plum, that was suspended. Nelson, one of them. He's a two-way guy. We'll see him on the offensive line throughout this game.
Give is to Houston up the middle. Smith again in on the tackle. That's his 3rd already this evening.
And already seeing a difference between the first drive and the second drive here for Gateway, for Smith. Just settling in a little bit already. Getting a couple of yards here and there, but now another 3rd down, 3rd and 4. 3rd and medium here for the Gators.
And near midfield, it could be 4-down territory for Gateway if they're thinking about trying to run the ball here. Play clock at 10. Bunch formation to the top. Moorefield now comes in motion across the formation. The give is to Julian Dancier. Tries to bounce it outside. Makes a few men miss. He's got the first down and a little bit more down to the Plum 44-yard line. A nice run there for Dancier, spelling Houston.
Excellent run there from Dancier with an excellent cut here on Landen Ekiert. You'll see Ekiert flying in number 4. Another defender from Plum missing. Ekiert's their top defensive player, that quarterback for the Mustangs on the defensive side, and Dancier able to pick up a couple extra yards.
Ekiert's a name that Matt Morgan mentioned to us as somebody who's been standing out. His middle linebacker, kind of getting everyone in position. Haven't seen him make that many plays so far tonight, but certainly will be calling his name at some point. Dancier gets the give to the left side, and another nice gain for the running back as he's pushed out of bounds up across the 40-yard line. Will set up about 2nd and 5.
And as we talked about, Gateway starting to settle in. These couple of runs from Dancier have been huge just for this offense to get moving. Now you're across midfield, and now if you want to run a play action like we saw, almost connected to Moorefield over the middle, they can do so, and if Smith can hit his target, they can come up with a big explosive here.
4 receivers set. Shotgun snap. Drop back. Connection with Dancier. And he's got a first down. Gateway keeping the chains moving. That time just another quick completion for Smith, the quarterback, starting to get comfortable here in his first start.
Yeah, a couple of first downs picked up here, and again, just getting it out quickly. As you mentioned, that spread offense look. Smith just moving the ball around here.
Smith looking over the middle, has a connection with Moorefield that time. Had some room to catch and run with a better throw, but it's a completion nonetheless. And it'll move the chains.
Basically, as we just talked about, that little play action fake, and you got Moorefield on the in route, that little slant going across the middle. Very, very similar to that one a little bit earlier.
Trips to the boundary. Moorefield now motions into the backfield. It's going to be Smith on the keep, and he's got some room to run inside the 10-yard line, and the Gateway Gators are threatening here with just over 4 minutes left in the first quarter.
First down.
A fabulous drive so far from the Gators, just pushing it on the ground, but now you got to be able to finish. Last week, shut out. You want to break through here in this first quarter would be huge for the Gators in this one.
Smith takes the high snap, play action fake, makes one man miss, but he's sacked in the backfield quickly by Benjamin Stricklin.
Stop by 76, Ben Stricklin.
Charles Hart brings this original pressure right there off the edge. Smith able to miss, and then boom, Stricklin right there.
The Gateway offensive line has held up pretty well thus far. That the first time. It's been a lot of pressure on Smith. Set up 2nd and goal from the 15. Smith dropping back, rolling to his right, looking for a receiver, not going to find one, going to take off and run, and Hart brings him down with some help. Smith there as well. And now 3rd and goal from the 12-yard line.
Smith seeing him on the run here, and a couple of guys get open momentarily. See all the way at the top of the screen, but I think this is where Plum can maybe find an advantage. Get Smith on the move. You don't necessarily have to get to him, but if you get him on the move, make it a little bit tougher on him to make a couple throws here, and they did so there. Again, had a little bit of time maybe to get one off in the end zone or even short, but that one kept and down for a loss.
Smith now on 3rd and goal. Has the completion to Gouter, running that drag across the formation, but no room to run afterwards, and it'll set up a field goal attempt.
And as we just mentioned, I mean, Gateway getting all the way that far into the red zone, then you got to find a couple of plays that you can punch it in, and just unable to do so. A short cross or drag route there, but nothing doing.
Jackson Michelandrich, the freshman, on for the field goal attempt. The 30-yarder is no good. Missed it left. And we're still scoreless here at Antimarino Stadium. 1:54 remaining in the first quarter.
Yeah, Michelandrich just pulling that one a little bit left.
But promising signs from the Gateway offense.
Yeah.
It seems like Plum, as it got into the short area, you maybe have to be a little more precise as a quarterback. Plum sitting in some zone coverage, seeing if Smith can actually beat them with his arm. That time he wasn't able to, but maybe, you see it once, you see it twice, and you start to get a little more comfortable as the game goes on.
Yeah, a couple of short completions just in the flats, a couple of screens to Dancier, among others, and then finally getting a shot over the middle to Moorefield, but need to see a little bit more of that. And obviously that was opened up from the play, from Dancier running in Houston, getting that ground game starting to push.
Nonnenberg, the give is to C.J. Hart. Breaks a couple of tackles and a nice little gain on 1st down. It'll set up 2nd and 4. That his first carry. You mentioned that two-headed monster in the backfield for Plum.
Yeah, they're led by first-year running backs coach Deji Kareem, who played in the NFL for a couple years back.
A little more than a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
Parts of 4 seasons.
Over 300, nearly 350 rushing yards, had a kick return touchdown. So he's been there, done that. Now brings part of that new offensive look for this Plum team.
Nonnenberg's going to keep it on that option play. Wise to do so because Hart was swallowed up right away, but defended well by Gateway. Just a gain of 1. That'll set up 3rd down.
Here we see again Gateway's front 7. They're staying composed and getting to Nonnenberg.
Houston eventually making that tackle.
Plum just trying to get Nonnenberg moving with his feet, and he can do so. I mean, he can be dangerous on the run as well.
3rd and short. Hart in the backfield flanking Nonnenberg. The give is to Hart, and he's got some room to run. Nearly busted that one, Tyree Gouter. May have saved a touchdown because Hart busted through the line of scrimmage and was off to the races. A big gain on 3rd and 1.
Just a little inside zone off that left side. Great burst through the hole for Hart, a guy who holds an Akron offer, so getting some Division I looks, of course. He showed a real nice play there. The junior, 6'1", 210 pounds, got some good size to him. Trying to set up this Plum offense on the ground, starting to set the tempo here.
And it looks like Nonnenberg's just going to take us into the second quarter after that nice run from Hart. Still even at 0 from Antimarino Stadium on Gateway Gator Productions. And we can talk about both of these offenses. There's storylines on both sides, but right now it's the defenses that are in control of this.
Absolutely. We talked about the Plum defensive line. Ben Stricklin's been heavily involved so far, but then also you got your playmaker on the Gateway D-line in Bandy, and he's been really good as well. And like we saw on a couple plays, can't leave him untouched, can't leave him unblocked. Now finally sort of working away from him on that run from Hart, going a little bit on that left side of the line, breaking through finally. But yeah, it's been really much so this defense. And Plum, credit to them, a little bend don't break too on that first drive, and then you come up with that missed field goal. So we'll see how far that one goes in this game. Could this one come down to the wire where it's a couple points and that one makes a big difference? And again, credit Plum. Gateway finally got moving, and Plum stood tall there at the end.
Definitely a different feel for the Mustangs after last week's 42-35 shootout against Latrobe, but their offense kind of kicked things into gear a little later into that matchup. So maybe on this drive after that explosive run from Hart, they're getting some momentum.
Yeah, Plum really came along in that Latrobe game. Led 21-14 at the end of that third quarter, and then a couple of miscues, a missed field goal off the post. So we talked about a missed field goal from Gateway. Plum had that last week.
Nonnenberg swallowed up.
Nonnenberg attempting the pass.
Senag Bodzi with the sack for the Gators. Nonnenberg off that play action, kind of a slow developing play, and Agbodzi won quickly. If he wasn't there to clean it up, Wendell Hall, the senior linebacker, in on the pressure as well.
Yeah, Agbodzi going off on that right tackle. I believe that was Jack Freilich on that right side. Plum, a really veteran, senior-heavy offensive line. You look right across the board. Ben Stricklin, Del Mastro, Grazulis, Nelson, and Freilich, all seniors for Plum.
Nonnenberg looking to the flat, gets it to Hart with some room to run. Back past the original line of scrimmage and across the 50-yard line into Gateway territory. And that's exactly what the Mustangs needed, backed up on second and very long.
Yeah, just a simple flip out there. One-handed grab by Hart. Really had to concentrate to bring that one in, and then once he gets moving, that boy can run. And
he's a load to bring down as well.
Yeah, it gets close. Got third and medium here.
It'll be 6 yards for the Mustangs. Nonnenberg, number 6, in an empty formation with a bunch to the top of the screen. Looking to the bottom of the screen. Has to roll out that way. Chased by Hall. Throwing it downfield, had a receiver. Cameron Wilson couldn't hang on to it. Would have been right around the first down marker if he could have hauled it in.
I think that one was going to be just 2 yards short. But good effort from Nonnenberg trying to evade that pressure. But if you get a catch there, I mean, maybe set up that fourth and 1, 4th and 2. I mean, at that point, you go for it, I think.
Now Plum gonna punt it away for the first time. Luke Hoberg sending it deep to Shawn Moorefield, has some room to run to the near side, makes a couple men miss, and across the 30-yard line is brought down and loses his helmet after that return. So another touch for Moorefield, a dynamic playmaker for Gateway. Maybe not going to get it to him as much in the passing game with the new quarterback that you're breaking in, and more of a run-heavy attack, getting him involved in the punt return game, and made a nice little return that time.
Yeah, just to get him involved just a little bit here and there, because again, didn't play those first 2 games. And Gateway has a couple other options out there at receiver: Gowder, Terrence Cool, a couple of those other guys, Dan Sear, who's getting mixed in the run game and a little bit in the receiving game. So Moorefield to get him slowly going.
Condensed formation this time. Quick to Jaden Stammer on the screen again. Breaks one tackle and brought down, driven back, and the play eventually whistled dead. It'll be spotted around the 40-yard line.
Yeah, just another quick look out from Smith to Stammer. He cuts through the middle, missed tackle there. Pretty good pickup for Gateway.
Hart nearly jumped that one and took it the other way, though, so they'll have to be careful on those screens to the boundary.
And that's what I was just going to lead into. You're starting to spread out the ball a little bit, widen that defense, and then maybe you can take a shot. But then also you got to be careful because Plum's starting to sit on it.
Moorefield motions into the backfield. Going to be a keeper for Smith this time. And a nice little gain. They're going to spot it just short, or they're going to move the chains.
A Gateway Gator first down.
Needed the 44, got the 44, first down. Fakes the give to Houston. The throw is to Moorefield, and that time, Moorefield just couldn't bring it in. He had some room to run if he did.
Yeah,
Second and 10.
Moorefield, he's a dangerous receiver. I mean, he's slowly getting back into things, but last year led the Gators with 52 receptions on 701 yards for 4 touchdowns. And we've seen that now, 3 or 4 times where they just try to go quickly over the middle, play action, and get him open. And for the second time now, unable to connect on a drop or just a little overthrown on that first pass from Smith.
Moorefield in the slot again. Shotgun snap to Smith. That time looking for Gowder and has a completion across the 50-yard line. And we've seen a lot of RPOs, some more rollouts and stuff, some screens, getting the ball out quickly for Smith. That time, just a straight drop back and a nice little completion.
Yeah, a little play fake, and then, Gowder just able to find some soft spot in the defense there. And, I mean, Gateway, other than that first 3 and out, they've been moving the ball rather well.
3rd and 4. From the Plum 49-yard line, and the give is to Houston. Trying to work his way to the outside and just had no room. Swallowed up. Landen Ekiert was one of the first Plum Mustangs there. And that'll set up 4th and 5. Decision time again for Gateway. They've gone for it quite a bit so far in this one.
And Bondi able to seal that edge on that left side, but it's that second wave of defenders for Plum able to come in and shut down that run quickly. And yeah, this is a tough one to go for right here at midfield, 4th and 4 with just about 8.5 to go in the second quarter. But they have been able to move the ball pretty well as of late in this game.
Casey Carter in motion. Shotgun snap is to Smith. Flushed out of the pocket, running up the middle, has the first down and a little bit more, lowers the shoulder. That's the linebacker coming out in him. Delivers the blow at the end of the play, and Gateway keeping the offense out there.
But man, he got 0 to max speed quickly here. Just shot through a cannon right up midfield across the G. Able to get that tough first down, and those are the type of plays you want to see from a quarterback, a guy that maybe hasn't been in there a ton, a junior. And, you see those type of plays on the sideline or you're the O-line. That's the type of quarterback you want to play for and keep going all-out effort.
The give to Houston that time up the middle, swallowed up quickly. Benjamin Stricklin was the first one there.
Really good job by Gateway head coach Don Hall and company mixing in these plays for Smith. Not just going all run, getting in some play action, play fakes, running with Smith at times, and really making it tough for this Plum defense to really settle in and hone in on one portion of this offense. This offense has been more than one-dimensional.
This time an end around to Moorefield. He's to the perimeter, bounces it back outside, has the first down, and up across the 25-yard line, a big play on a trick play for the Gators that time. You talk about mixing it up. How about that?
Yeah, you're getting eyes looking all different directions here, and then finally goes to Moorefield on the little trickeration. Gets past that first tackler, Jaden Stammer, with a good block out here on the edge, number 8. And then thought maybe could have been a late flag there on Plum. A little shove late. It was pretty much out of bounds, but nothing called, but still a big gain for the Gators here.
This is a lengthy drive for Gateway. Play clock now under 10. Got to get it off quickly. Smith takes the snap, fakes the give to Dancier. Quick out to Stammer, makes one man miss and has some room to run. Into the red zone for Gateway. A nice move that time by Stammer, who's had quite a few opportunities on these quick wide receiver screens.
Yeah, Stammer, just a great move here. Man, he was dead to rights there from Hanslick, Eugene Hanslick, the linebacker. And then I don't know if the O-lineman for Gateway ever realized that Stammer was coming upfield right behind them, and they never necessarily finished off their blocks. They get maybe one more block there, and Stammer's in the end zone.
Now this is the difficult area for Gateway last time, where the offense kind of stalled out. The give to Dancier up the middle, tackled by Smith across the 20-yard line. A short little gain that time, and it'll be first down from the 18-yard line.
Gateway just continues to move the sticks here. Dancier, the secondary running back for the Gators,
from the 14.
continuing to push things along. Coming into this game, 14 carries, 80 yards, 5.7 yards per carry. So both these backs, a little over 5.5 yards per carry. I mean, credit that to the O-line and these backs making people miss. But now you really need to see that here on first down.
Gives it Dancier, reverses field. Brought down, but able to have a nice gain there on first down. Matthew Nelson on the tackle for Plum.
Yeah, you'll take that gain there. Just a good cut. Sees there wasn't an opening on that right side and still able to get 4 yards. Bounces past that left guard, past the center for 4 yards.
This is a Gateway offense that thrives in space. Not much down here near the end zone. Inside the 10-yard line now, still a first down to gain. Smith's going to keep it. Not much room to run.
Smith over the middle. Stop by 4.
Bring up third down.
Ekiert. Third down, 5.
Well, here's where you have to have a really good play call for Smith. Either set up him on the run instead of making him forced on the run, or just come up with a quick throw out to a receiver, out to Stammer, out to Moorefield, just to get them to make a play.
Moorefield in the backfield now, lined up as a fullback. Might have a trick play here with Smith under center. Fakes the give to Houston, looking the other way to Carter, a flag down, our first of the game. Smith diving across the 5-yard line, trying to gain a first down. I'm not sure if it's going to matter, though. This one could be coming back. It's in the area of holding.
Yeah, it's been a rather clean game so far. I was thinking that just a few moments ago. But finally, see that first penalty flag.
Holding on the Gators.
That'll set up third down behind the sticks for Gateway. And this is where they stalled out last time with that missed field goal. That time it was because of a sack that they ended up behind the sticks. This time a penalty will set up third and long. .418 remaining in this first half. This half is blown by. Still tied at 0. Somebody trying to break through. Gateway with a good opportunity. Need to pick up a little more here on third. Fake to give to Houston, looking downfield with some room to run. Smith keeping his eyes up, makes a man miss. Barrels his way down towards the end zone. And he's in for the touchdown. Junior quarterback Jackson Smith making his first start with Elvis Koutsakis out. Hasn't done too much damage through the air, but that's what you get when you play a linebacker at quarterback. Plum drew blood on Smith's arm, but Gateway draws the first blood with a touchdown. 6-0 the lead pending the extra point.
What a gutsy run there from Smith. And, thought maybe he's just going for the sticks, trying to get that first down, and no, he would not be denied from the end zone. What a heck of a run.
Pounded through by the freshman Michelandrich, and it's 7-0 Gateway, 3:57 remaining in the first half, and that's exactly what you want to see if you're head coach Don Hall with Smith at quarterback.
We were so close, getting into about the 15-yard line on that first red zone opportunity, but this time, what a play by Smith. And a little scissors concept to the top of the field with Moorefield going on that corner route and just never able to get enough separation. So Smith takes it. We saw a big run from him coming across midfield, and now this one, man, that one immediately on the highlight reel for Smith.
Absolutely, and that's the value of a mobile quarterback, right? Maybe you're limited in different ways in the passing game, especially the downfield passing game. Haven't seen much even beyond 10 yards today. But if you got that 11-man running game, it's just so much harder to defend, especially when the field shrinks around the red zone.
And a great response to coming off that penalty, too. You get the holding call, you're further back than you'd like to be, and you're in a tough spot. Just looking for the first down, and Smith does it all, though. They're able to get in the end zone.
Touchback there for Michelandrich, the freshman, showing off a bit of leg after missing that 30-yarder earlier, pounded the extra point through, and then kicking that one through the end zone. Now Plum with a chance to respond.
And it's interesting how this game has unfolded so far, because Plum has been the team so far this year that has been scoring at a high clip, 38.5 points per game. For Gateway, that's their first point since the third quarter of the opener against State College. So shutout in the fourth quarter and then the entirety against NA.
Pressure on Nonnenberg, gets it away. Pass is completed, but Brendan Marston, it was behind him, and he fell to the ground after hauling it in. Just a 2-yard gain.
And the big thing we haven't seen from Plum too much is any big explosive plays. We saw the CJ Hart grab and run for about 15 yards, but other than that, not so much. And through the first handful of games, Plum has been able to rattle off 5 plays of 30 or more yards, and we haven't seen that yet in this game.
Gateway keeping a lid on things here in the first half. Nonnenberg throwing over the middle, and this might be an explosive play here. Maybe not quite 30 yards, but quite a bit for Sloan Humphries. We haven't heard from Humphries much. They tried to get him involved a lot early, and there from the slot, making a really nice grab in traffic.
Yeah, just gets enough separation. And how about that throw from Nonnenberg? I mean, right in a tight window. That linebacker was sitting right there, and Nonnenberg able to fit that in, and Humphries about 21 yards on that completion. Had 2 touchdowns last game against Latrobe, had 98 yards and a touchdown. And the opener, that touchdown in that game of 6 yards.
Looking for a receiver again. It's Humphries again, looking to outrun the defensive back, and he does. Plum answers. How about some explosives? We've got fireworks on Friday night at Antimarino Stadium. Plum just took the lid off things quickly. Nonnenberg to Humphries twice, and pending the extra point, we're all tied up.
Really, that one just a go up the seam for Humphries. 57 yards. You see the speed, the ability to separate on back-to-back plays.
Tristan Houston just couldn't track him down. That diving attempt unsuccessful. Austin Kolankowski for the extra point. Driven low but through. And we're even with 2:41 remaining in the second half. The Gateway offense will now have to operate quickly here, as eventually they're going to run up against time in this first half. Plum got their work done very quick in very short order with those completions to Humphries.
Yeah, speedy drive. And again, yeah, just a little stop and go. Just about 3 yards off the line of scrimmage and burnt past Houston there. And little announcer's jinx on the, oh, they haven't hit any explosives just yet, and then 2 plays in a row, 20 or more yards. That one for 57. So in a matter of 2 plays, 78 yards on 2 passes.
That's the Plum offense that everyone has heard about with their new offensive coordinator, Marty Steele.
Yeah, Steele coming from St. Vincent College, so at the collegiate level, but through 2 games, John Nonnenberg, we talked about him towards the open of this broadcast, towards the tops in the WPIAL, 2nd in touchdown passes. Now you got 8 on the year. That was tied 2nd coming into this one, and then tied 9th in completions.
Stammer fields the kickoff, has some room to run up the middle. He's tripped up. I think he tripped up over his own feet, a little indecisive there. And Gateway will set up shop at the 26. And to your point with Nonnenberg, coming into the season for Plum, there was kind of a question of who was going to play quarterback, Nonnenberg or senior Antonio Hanslick. Nonnenberg got the nod, and he's really run with it in this new revamped offense.
Yeah, he's looked really good last year, threw for 566 yards and 6 touchdowns, but this year has already topped at least that touchdown mark in the first 2 games. And again, you talk about how big that Franklin Regional win was for them. They haven't won in a handful of years, another rivalry type game. And now in this one, I mean, just trying to put his team on the back and good connections there with Sloan Humphries, who's just been an all-around playmaker for the Mustangs.
Smith dropping back, looking to scramble, gets that one away, and airmails an open Jaden Stammer. Keeping his eyes downfield, though, for a quarterback that's done most of his damage on the ground.
Yeah, Stammer just hanging out right in between those 2 safeties. Tyler Polano, one of them on that far side. But I think the one thing that Smith has done really good, as we've seen right there, his ability to feel that pressure and climb the pocket. Yeah. And then he can either decide to take off and run or sit down and throw a pass. Now that time, obviously, a little high, a little off the mark, but man, he's shown some really good stuff here in the first half.
He's been composed for a quarterback making his first start, certainly. Looking to get it out. That quick screen to Tyree Gowder. Hart almost jumped it again, but Gowder now with some room to run up across the 40-yard line. First down for Gateway, and how about that for a drive starter for the Gators as the clock ticks near 2 minutes.
Yeah, just another play fake. Oh,
Hart almost jumped one earlier, and he almost got that one too.
Yeah, when you keep throwing there east-west, I mean, you're playing it a little tricky there. A little dicey there for Gateway, but Gowder able to pick up a big gain too.
Smith flanked by Houston. Houston out in the flat. That one over Hart. Houston makes one man miss, has some room to run, brought down from behind. Some nice pursuit by Stricklin. Good hustle from the Plum defensive line. They've been all over the place.
And for this receiving core for Gateway, a lot of their work has been done after the catch.
Yeah.
A lot of yards after the catch from these guys. A lot of men missed here. Do you see there Houston able to break an ankle tackle? I've seen that a lot. Those quick little screen passes out. And the Gators able to pick up some yards.
And that's what you need when you know your downfield passing game is probably going to be somewhat limited. Gateway not in a hurry right now. 1:15 on the game clock. Play clock ticking down. Timeout Plum. Before this 2nd and 5. Gateway may be content to go into half even at 7 here as they're up around midfield. You know, you're not in a bad field position where you're really going to, give the ball back to Plum where they can score quickly. We know they can score quickly. They just did. But maybe, taking the foot off the gas a little bit here before halftime.
Yeah, I think it will really be decided on this play right here, what they can do 2nd and 5. If they can get a first down. If not, if they get stuffed in the backfield, maybe you lay off a little bit here. But
hand it off, make Plum use some of their timeouts and go into the half.
But right now for Gateway, you've built all the confidence in the world that you wanted in this game so far. Yeah, there's only 7 points on the board, but with the way things have been going, with obviously the quarterback situation and Smith having to come in, the O-line's been a little banged up, so far a really good all-around first half after coming off a game where you didn't even score a point.
Yeah, especially for a team that's kind of building maybe a new identity of run first, play some good defense instead of spreading the ball out to all these wide receivers. It's been that kind of half. 2nd and 5 now. Smith will take the snap and look to the far side. looking to climb that pocket once again, breaks one tackle, making a beeline for the sideline, and he gets there before he's brought down by C.J. Hart. A first down, and the clock stops with 68 seconds remaining.
And now you get that first down, you get that clock stop, so now you can really set up looking for the end zone here. Maybe another short pass, get a couple more yards, or one of these plays, take the shot. Try to find someone, get open. Moorefield, maybe you see him there in the slot.
Haven't really let Smith uncork one deep. Maybe an opportunity here. Carter going in motion to that far side, looking that way. The throw is to Houston, and nobody there blocking the defensive back, Hanslick, who makes the tackle in the backfield, a loss of 3. And timeout, Gateway.
Yeah, on that play, though, that quick out in the flat, Casey Carter, the guy that you need him to pick up that block, and unable to get that Mustang defender there, and so Gateway, a loss there of 3 yards. So after a good run from Smith, now you go a little bit backwards.
It seemed like on that motion, right? That motion goes out into laying that block. Carter was a little out further than the defensive back. Potentially that's a timing thing with the new quarterback. You never know, right? We're just kind of speculating for up here, but if that snaps out a little earlier, maybe Carter's able to get that block in place. When you're running this kind of offense with motion and it's so timing based, maybe some of those things are a little tougher with a new quarterback.
Yeah, and it seemed like right there, though, things were pretty much in rhythm as expected. Yeah. I think just on that block, Carter just didn't get lined up perfectly on his block or on his defender. And so as the Gator tried to go upfield, that block was never there.
Yeah. Now coming out of the timeout, 2nd and 13 after that loss of 3. Smith, a straight drop back looking downfield, and he'll throw to Moorefield, who's trying to get out of bounds and does, just still behind the original line of scrimmage, a 2-yard gain that time. 45 seconds remaining for 3rd and long.
Yeah, two shallow routes from the Gators, and then 2 go routes on the outside. And I thought maybe if Smith had a little bit more time, he could have little fake there and then popped a shot down the sideline. But just unable to do so, unable to have that amount of time to get off a play like that.
3rd and long, see if Gateway maybe wants to run the ball, force Plum to use a timeout. We know how quickly they can strike. Staying aggressive though, Smith looking downfield, and he wants to uncork one, has Moorefield for the first down, and Moorefield's gonna get up out of bounds past the 20-yard line. And what a play there from Smith. The first time we've really seen him sit back there, go through his reads, and deliver a strike down the field.
You see Moorefield on these right hashes, works his way across the field, but continuing to move there, give himself an opportunity, give Smith an opportunity to find him in an open window, and he does so. Then he picks up that block to get probably another 5 yards, and now set up a good situation here on the 18.
36 seconds remaining. Still 2 timeouts for Gateway. That one's batted and intercepted by Stricklin. Smith trying to run him down. He's got some room to run across the 35 of Gateway. And Plum now in business with 27 seconds. We talked about those screen passes east and west. It was Hart who almost did it. That time, Stricklin gets it done.
Wow. What a play by the big man, Stricklin off the edge.
And he's looking like the running back.
Yeah, the two-way player for Plum. And he's a leader on this defense for the Mustangs. Leads the team coming into this game with 2 sacks. So he finds himself in the backfield pretty often. But again, Gateway just on the perimeter a little bit there, and on that line, at least this play, not sealing that block.
Yeah.
If you can keep Stricklin, at the line of scrimmage right there, he's not in the backfield, and that quick pass that comes out from Smith most likely completed, or at least, out of his hands.
And clearly that's a coaching point for Plum now with all of these screens that Smith has been completing in this first half, is to try to jump that. We've seen Hart try to do it multiple times, Stricklin as well. Now out there at left tackle, blocking for Nonnenberg, who's dropping back, has a little bit of time, throwing over the middle, and incomplete, looking for Humphries.
Second down.
For Gateway, this is the disaster scenario. You have it in striking distance. You have a kicker with some confidence after an extra point that he banged through, missing that field goal earlier. And now Plum with an opportunity to put points on the board before halftime. 23 seconds remaining for 2nd and 10.
And Plum, you got to be a little bit careful too. Got to get that ball out of your hand and make sure you don't make a mistake now at this part of the field. Wendell Hall almost in there off the edge for Gateway. Almost on that arm of Nonnenberg.
Give to the inside to Jackson. Breaks a couple tackles, has a first down to the 20-yard line. 15.8 seconds. We'll see if Plum uses one of their 2 timeouts. Working quickly, the clock running now with the ball set and the timeout used now with 11 seconds remaining. Just wasted time after that one. Should have blown it, called for the timeout right after that first down.
Yeah, a little confused there because you have 2 in your pocket. Maybe if you had 1 and wanted to try to get a quick shot off, but you let probably 5 more seconds run off the clock than that needed to happen.
And if you're going to do that, maybe you run up and spike it quickly, try to save those timeouts for the kicker. But like you said, you got 2 in your pocket. You really only need 1 for that situation. And now 11 seconds.
And at this point at the 20, I mean, maybe this first play you think about taking a shot to the end zone, or it's a quick run, get a couple more yards. Because now you're in a tricky spot. You try to get a touchdown here or maybe just a couple more yards and then kick a field goal. Put yourself in a field goal position and take a 3-point lead into half instead of coming up with nothing.
Especially after we saw Gateway give the ball away. That's exactly what you don't want to do in this scenario.
And at this point, I think if you're Plum, you really want to come away with points here because we've seen the way Gateway's offense has been able to move. Obviously, that turnover not great, but they've been moving the ball well.
Nonnenberg with the give up the middle to Jackson. He's got some room to run. Brought down, a great tackle by Gowder, maybe a touchdown saving tackle, and timeout called for. 2.4 seconds on the clock, and it's going to be a short chip shot field goal, but high school kickers, you never know. We've seen Gateway miss one down to this end as well.
That got real tricky there because you got Jackson with a real good run, but then time's trickling down, and
maybe he breaks that tackle and gets tackled at the 2, but time runs out.
Exactly.
You're in a real interesting middle ground. That worked out well for Plum to now have an opportunity for this field goal attempt. 2 timeouts for Gateway. Maybe they're going to try to ice the kicker the other way for Plum. Austin Kolankowski, the senior, who we've seen knock through an extra point, but it was kind of a low kick on that extra point. You can only glean so much from that because he made it, but we'll see what kind of leg he's got for this one. Looks like it's going to be a 29-yarder here for Kolankowski.
29 yards.
From the left hash. And they will call the timeout on the Gateway side to try to ice him. Kolankowski got the kickoff anyways, a little practice attempt. You try to call that timeout early enough that they don't get to take a kick at it. That time Kolankowski did, even after the whistle. Little gamesmanship on both sides, and a smart job by the kicker to see one go through.
Yeah, absolutely. And just what a way this last 2 minutes has sort of turned on its head from that pick from Stricklin. You're in the red zone for Gateway, so now 3 drives with this offense under Smith, able to get into the red zone. 1 for 3 now, obviously with the missing the kick on the first attempt and then the interception, but then you still get in the end zone on the touchdown. And here you can at least walk into half, maybe tied, if not only down 3 points.
Kolankowski ready to do it again. How tight this one's been, these 3 points could be very important down the stretch. Right now, the field goal attempt will take us into half. 29-yarder for the senior. Away and splits the uprights. 10-3, the Plum lead at half. And disaster for number 10 of Gateway, Jackson Smith, throwing that interception. Stricklin flipping the field for the Plum Mustangs. And after what was a fairly anemic first half offensively for this new revamped offense under their new offensive coordinator, they get points out of it after this impressive athletic play from Stricklin that, like you said, flipped everything on its head.
And just overall good adjustments by Plum defensively to keep hard up, trying to make it tough on Smith and the Gateway offense, and then finally Stricklin able to just get a paw on it. Not even just, even if they didn't pick it off, at least you get a hand on it, knock it down, bat it down, do whatever you can. But best case scenario there for Plum to now set you up for points into halftime. And
heading into the half, both of these offenses kind of have their footing a little bit. You expecting maybe some more fireworks, some more explosives, some more points in the second half?
Yeah, for sure, especially from Plum. I think you finally got to see Nonnenberg settle in there a little bit more because they really ran the ball a lot in that first quarter and halfway through that second quarter. Then finally he took a couple of shots to his playmaker, to his key guy there, Sloan Humphries, who had 2 touchdowns a game ago, 98 yards that first game, and he's been their big target throughout the year. And there you get him going there for that big 57-yard touchdown pass. And then for Gateway, I mean, yeah, we're starting to see that offense really start to come together. And Smith, I think, other than that interception, has looked really good.
Yeah, just can you finish drives for Gateway in the second half? And Plum, you have a lead now. Can you finish things off after blowing a lead last week against Latrobe? And Plum hasn't beaten Gateway since 2001 when they won that one 34-7, 13-0 the Gateway record in the last 13. That's over 23-year stretch. So these two non-conference rivals will have a heated matchup here in the second half. For now, here is the Plum and eventually the Gateway Band on GatewayGatorProductions.com. Welcome back to Gateway Gators Productions, Gateway and Plum, the second half coming up. I'm Josh Yorsh alongside Nathan Breisinger. And Nathan, we had a bit of a slow start to the first half, at least offensively for both these teams. Gateway breaking in a new quarterback, Jackson Smith, after Elvis Koutsakis' injury, and Plum just kind of sputtering early in this one. They haven't been out there very much. But then to end the half, a lot of excitement and maybe some hints that the Plum offense is going to come alive.
Yeah, I think it took a lot longer than they would have liked to get sort of settled in and find their rhythm. There's a lot of running early on, and they really did not move the ball a whole lot. Now, they weren't out there a whole lot. We were just talking about just the amount of plays they've just run in general. Not a ton compared to Gateway. Really, Gateway controlling the time of possession so far this evening, but finally getting the weapons going, and Sloan Humphries a quick pass there. 2 in a row, but then finally the touchdown run of 57 yards from Nonnenberg to Humphries. And now Plum a little bit in the driver's seat. Obviously, it's just by 3 points, but you can see that offense finally starting to click. You see the defense starting to read and adjust to this Gateway offense, of course, with the Stricklin pick going the other way that set up those last 3 points.
And that's exactly where I was going to go next, that the Gateway offense has been interesting, right? It's been a lot of motion, a lot of eye candy, a lot of quick screens, and trying to work around having a first-time starting quarterback in their junior Jackson Smith. But maybe a halftime to go back to the drawing board for Plum and adjust to what you're seeing. We already saw them jumping a lot of those screens to the boundary with the defensive ends. You mentioned the Stricklin pick. Do you think it could be a bit tougher sledding for Gateway, or maybe they have to have a counter punch coming out of halftime?
I think they're going to have a counter punch, and I don't think they're going to shy away from still doing some of that, quick passes, obviously that spread offense. I think Dan Sear giving him the ball a little bit more on the ground. He's run pretty well so far this game, but you have to get away from trying to go right at that front seven.
Yeah.
Now, I'd like them to take a shot down the field. I know Smith, obviously, maybe not the best arm downfield, but if you just take a couple shots downfield, it opens things back up short and intermediate there for Gateway to just run that offense a little bit more smoothly like they were doing in the first quarter.
And just before that interception to Stricklin, we saw Smith probably make the best pass he had in that entire first half. The 15-yard or so completion to Shawn Moorefield over the middle between zone coverage. Moorefield kind of sitting down and getting comfortable after missing the first 2 games of the season. So maybe that connection is something that the Gators could lean on in the second half.
Yeah, absolutely. And it seems like Smith, that's been his top target. He's targeted him probably 5-6 times, but it's only been about 3 receptions. Missed him couple of times over the middle, but if there's a chance there where he's open, you got to find it, and Smith's got to make the plays, and I think that's going to be the key here. Obviously, you have some other guys like Stammer and Houston, a couple other guys in the pass game that you want to try to look for, but Moorefield is the guy.
And spinning this forward for Gateway, and we'll take a look coming up at the upcoming broadcasts on Gateway Gator Productions. The Gators have a lot of difficult matchups coming up as conference play starts, and they need to get comfortable with this new offense, with this new quarterback. Of course, looking at Tuesday, boys soccer versus Plum. Friday, football versus Kiski area, that matchup that I talked about starting conference play. Tuesday, girls volleyball against Derry area. Wednesday, girls soccer against Shaler. Friday at Franklin Regional for football. Then next Tuesday after that, September 23rd, girls volleyball against McKeesport. And then Friday, September 26th, football at home against Armstrong. I'll be with you next Friday for Gateway and Kiski here on Gateway Gator Productions as we're nearing the start of half number 2 here, Nathan. And maybe you can give us a rundown of some of the stats from half number 1.
Yeah, just a quick look, and like we talked about, not a lot of action from the Plum offense overall. Nonnenberg, 5 of 9 for 100 yards with that 57-yard touchdown connection with Sloan Humphries. But other than that, on the ground, really hasn't been anything spectacular so far. E.J. Jackson, just 3 carries for 22 yards, and Hart there for 2 carries for 26 yards, and Nonnenberg, -8 yards on the ground. So he, a guy that can run, hasn't necessarily got that going either, has 2 touchdowns on the ground so far this year. And then Gateway. Jackson Smith has played particularly well. I mean, I don't think there's a whole lot to complain about. Obviously, the pick, that one, you're going to make a mistake as a guy who hasn't played a ton. But 12 of 16, 89 yards through the air, that 1 interception, no touchdowns, but then some really tough runs from Smith. And I think that really got that sideline juvenated, that offense rolling when he was starting to run a little bit, and then that opened up some things around the perimeter in the passing games. 10 carries, 60 yards, and that touchdown run of 18 yards for Smith. And then the rest of the running game has been okay so far. Houston, 7 carries for 12 yards. And then Dansier, 4 carries for 22 yards, a little bit of a better clip for Dansier on the ground.
On the Plum side, you mentioned just not many opportunities offensively. Gateway, with these long drives, the short passes, the running game, nearly the entire second quarter, the Gateway offense was out there. They didn't have any points to show for it. But Plum on the other side, then they have a quick strike touchdown. They have that 2-headed monster in the backfield of Elijah Jackson and C.J. Hart, E.J. and C.J., and a new running backs coach from the NFL that they've kind of focused on that running game. And we talked to Matt Morgan before this one. He said they're trying to be balanced. They're trying to average 200 on the ground and 200 through the air. They've had success through the air today. Haven't really gotten anything going on the ground. Maybe in this second half, they look to try to spend a little more time out on the field, give their defense a rest. Right, guys are playing both ways in high school football. But give their defense a bit of a rest, run the ball with Hart and Jackson a little bit more, and maybe impose their will in this second half.
And the Plum's benefit here, they start with the ball, so you get a chance to go out there, control the clock a little bit. And if you can go out here and find the end zone and go up by 10 points, that's a big strike for the Mustangs to get a little bit into the driver's seat, but also take off some clock like Gateway has done, where they've had longer, more substantial drives.
Mikulandrich, the freshman kicker for Gateway, kicks another touchback. So Plum will set up shop at the 20-yard line with Nonnenberg at quarterback. And obviously, as you mentioned, Sloan Humphries is going to be his number 1 target in the passing game.
Yeah, we'll see how they balance out the offense in this drive a little bit, because it has felt more so on the ground a little bit more, at least early on in drives. Only 9 attempts so far for Nonnenberg. We'll see if that changes.
The give is to Hart up the middle, and Roberson Louis June stacked him up quickly. Maybe a gain of a half a yard. Going to set up second and a long 9.
Yeah, Louis June able to get in there, spin off, a couple of other helpers in there, but the 2-time all-conference defensive tackle making his presence known quickly in this second half.
We've talked about Kyan Mbandi. We haven't mentioned Louis June's name, but he's an excellent player on the interior for the Gators as well. Maybe a reason that the run game for Plum has been bottled up. 2nd and 9 here. Nonnenberg, Hart flanking him to his right again. Fakes the give to Hart. Hart picks up the blitz, throwing downfield. Samaj Robinson with the grab out of the slot and a nice throw from Nonnenberg. Set up 1st down and 10 at the 40-yard line.
Samaj Robinson getting involved here. Nice little corner pattern from him. Good throw by Nonnenberg. And Robinson, like I said, hasn't been super involved in this game. Coming into this one, 3 receptions, 36 yards and a touchdown, but also has 8 carries on the ground throughout the year, 76 yards and a score. So he's been a little bit of a two-way player on offense.
Give to Hart up the middle. A lot of room to run. Busts it through the middle, and Gouter makes the tackle. Another ankle tackle from Tyree Gouter. He saved maybe a couple of big plays, if not touchdowns, with tackles like that tonight, but another nice run for Hart.
First down.
Yeah, Hart has ripped off a couple of good runs. That one catch also out on the perimeter to haul that one in. And here you go, 2 plays in a row where picking up big chunks for Plum on this drive.
Plum wants to be explosive on the ground and through the air. Doing it that time with the give to Hart, give again to Hart, and he's bottled up quickly by Jackson Smith, making the play from his linebacker spot. It will set up 2nd and 9.
No gain.
Gateway seeming to be selling out to stop the run here to start the second half. Maybe they were thinking, like we were, that Plum was going to try to establish it.
And there you see Jackson Smith on your screen getting that two-way action. That linebacker was the one that came down to make that play from the second level.
We saw that physicality as a runner on the offensive side as well. Kind of the quarterback of both units as the middle linebacker and the quarterback.
A little gashed up too on the arm.
Nonnenberg, Jackson flanking him. And we saw some movement at the line of scrimmage. See which side it's called on. Wendell Hall jumping a little bit, but it's going to be a false start called against Benjamin Stricklin, the senior left tackle.
And with Smith coming in, Jackson Smith starting this game, you're starting to maybe see someone that could evolve into a really good two-way player if he can continue the type of play he's had. Because on defense, he has been a standout for this Gateway team. Last year in 2024, 102 tackles for this Gateway team, 3 sacks, 7 tackles for loss, and felt like we haven't seen him a ton on defense because the defensive lines had pretty good push all game, but we're really concentrating about Smith on the offensive side of the ball.
Nonnenberg to the flat, looking for Jackson. That one was batted by Monty Lemon. And that's a great play by Lemon because Jackson had a lot of room to run. Take a look at this one develop.
Yeah, those 2 outside receivers just pushing downfield, pushing those DBs back and giving plenty of space.
Houston would have had to make a tackle in space if Jackson would have been able to haul that one in. Now it's 3rd and 15, or 14 rather, from the 48-yard line.
We've seen that a couple of times where Plum is pushed downfield and opened up for those running backs in the flats. A couple of good concepts there from the new offensive coordinator.
Trips to the top. Nonnenberg looking over the middle. Pass rush is going to get there. Flushes him to his right. He's got a lot of room to run, trying to keep the eyes downfield. Up past the original line of scrimmage to about the 40-yard line, but that's going to set up 4th and about 6.
How about that escapability from Nonnenberg? I mean, man, all 4 pass rushers get through the offensive line. We talked about all the seniors that are dotted along that offensive line for the Mustangs, and Gateway just able to break through, break down that brick wall.
Now that'll set up a punt for Plum. Wasn't sure if they were going to keep the offense on the field or not. They're going to send it away. A flag down. Might have been an illegal motion for Plum as they get motion started before the punt.
Flag on the play.
A decent punt, pending the penalty, starting field position at the 13-yard line for Gateway, so we'll see where this moves the spot.
Also have to see if they're going to re-kick.
Looks like they're going to back him up and make him do it again.
Yeah, you're
Fourth down.
Johnny on the spot there, illegal motion, and we'll see Plum booted off again.
And now it's Sloan Humphries out there as the gunner. It was Eli Matulski who committed that penalty. No motion that time. And not a very good punt. A great decision by Coach Hall to make him kick it again. It bounced on the 40-yard line and then bounded back.
43.
Looks like it's going to be starting field position at the 43-yard line. So from the 13 to the 43, that's a 30-yard swing. Talked about explosive plays of 30 yards. Got it there on a punt, unconventional way, but that's a 30-yard pickup for Gateway on that penalty.
Yeah, things going sideways figuratively and literally there for the punter for Plum, and now Gateway. Again, now maybe it's a matter of playing the field position a little bit. Even if you don't move this drive a whole lot further down the field, at least you can punt one and get them pinned back like Plum wanted to there, and they had them. That ball was probably, what, about the 10-yard line, you said?
13. It was going to be at the 13-yard line.
I mean, just look at the flip here. Now you're at the 40.
Moorefield coming in motion. Give up the middle to Houston, and he's just had to stutter and was quickly bottled up by Landen Ekiert. We've seen that a couple times where he's had to stop his momentum in the backfield.
Yeah, Houston's had a little bit of a rough day back there for the Gators. Just not a lot of room for him. A little indecisive at the line. Whereas Dancier's come in, thought he's had a couple of good cuts at the line, reading the blocking really well. So interested to see, you know, how many snaps we see between Houston and Dancier the rest of the way. Julian Dancier, the junior running back.
Smith dropping back, looking downfield, gonna take a shot up the middle to Houston. Had him open, just overshot him a little bit. That wheel route coming out of the backfield. Nearly an explosive play. Take a look at it.
Wow, that play was, I mean, I saw that develop all the way through this one, and that linebacker just a little flat-footed in the safety trying to come over top to help. If that ball is led a little bit more to that hash, that right hash here for Smith where Houston can sort of run into it, man, he's gone. I mean, I don't know if that safety's going to be able to come over and stop Houston from hitting the end zone.
Tyler Beleno was the nearest in coverage. Seeing some movement on the Plum defensive side before the snap. The throw is to Houston on a little swing route on 3rd and long, and that'll set up 4th and 11. It's going to be a punt the other way. So we talked about the field position battle. We'll see what kind of punt Jackson Smith and Gateway can get off here.
And coming into this half, we were just talking about it, trying to take a shot for Gateway, and they had it there. I mean, that was the perfect opportunity, a perfect play call. Just can't execute. And
really well drawn up, too. That corner route coming out of the slot kind of pulled him towards the sideline. Zone coverage from Plum pretty much all day because they want to keep eyes on Jackson Smith. And really well drawn up, just couldn't execute. Now they got to waste a timeout. 7:47 remaining in the 3rd quarter. Timeout Gateway. Coach Hall not happy about it at all. This one has been very close, 10-7 the Plum lead. And that may be an important timeout down the stretch.
And we talked about how Gateway has had their way in this matchup over the past couple of years, but the last couple ones have come down to a couple of scores. Last year was just a 22-15 win. Year before that, or 2 years prior to that, was 28-26 and sealed on a late game interception by Gateway. And this is the way things are unfolding here. I mean, very well could come down to that. And I know it's not a conference game, but last year Gateway, I mean, they missed the playoffs for the first time in Don Hall's tenure here, and some of their losses were by the smallest margins of error. I mean, in conference, Franklin Regional, you lost 36-34. Woody High, 28-27, and Latrobe, 28-27.
Fake punt. The throw from Smith to Stammer has some room, pushed out of bounds just short, and Plum will take over at the Gateway 48-yard line. It was well drawn up. Stammer had some room, but the play was made in the nick of time for Plum, and they'll take over in an advantageous spot.
What a gamble there from Don Hall. Obviously calling that timeout. Not sure if that played into the decision or if that's what he wanted to do originally.
Plum takes over.
But what an attempt there, and right at the last second coming over, Plum able to keep the Gators from converting.
That'll be one to remember, as this one's been very close. Nonnenberg and the Mustangs taking over. Looking to get it out quick. Samaj Robinson couldn't hang on that time, the sophomore wide receiver. That's his second target in this second half, hauled in the first one for a big gain.
And going back to that fake punt there, just very deceptive from the Gators, and the Gunners moving down the field and pushing away from that line to gain, and then all of a sudden there was Landen Ekiert, their best player in the middle for the Mustangs, able to come over and make that play.
An option look that time, played really well by Gateway. Smith and Wendell Hall took away both options. Nonnenberg didn't want to pitch it to Jackson. The length of Hall, who's 6'4", the senior on the edge, maybe playing a factor in Nonnenberg, just burying that one and falling for the loss.
Yeah, Hall, he's slim, but he's got some really nice length to him. He's tall, and seen him a couple of other plays, been pretty noticeable off that edge, and then right there, him and Smith. Good patience there, too, by those two.
Nonnenberg from an empty set takes the shotgun snap, looking for Robinson over the middle. Has him. He outruns a couple of Gateway defenders, has the sideline, and he's gone. Samaj Robinson couldn't haul in the pass on second down, and more than makes up for it a couple plays later. The slant over the middle right in front of Jackson Smith. Took a bad angle. Casey Carter as well. And then it was a foot race. And it doesn't look like Samaj Robinson is going to lose very many of those. 16-7 pending the extra point. Plum extends their lead. And that one's blocked. It looked like a bad snap, a little low. The hold was a little delayed, and it threw off the timing for Kolankowski. Take another look. Just some trouble with that snap. Pretty good snap, actually. The hold just didn't get down from Antonio Hanslick, the senior backup quarterback. And maybe that could come back to bite.
Either way, I mean,
still a two-score game.
Just what a big strike from Plum, though. And we talked about Samaj Robinson just starting to get involved. Had a completion, just the last drive, and as you said, just slowly developing play, at least for Robinson on his route. And Nonnenberg just gets it out to him. A missed tackle right there, and a great block down the field by Wilson, 18. Great push by him to seal things off, and then Robinson, as soon as he's coming in the area of that defender of the Gators, just he's not able to turn and stop Robinson. So 50-yard touchdown there for Plum. And that's been the makeup of this offense so far. 2 big strikes.
They've got a lot of weapons at receiver. Seen some big plays from Sloan Humphries, now the sophomore, maybe next in line. Samaj Robinson making a big play. Can Gateway answer? Fielded on the goal line by Stammer. Working that near side. Has some space and pushed out at about the 35-yard line. So pretty good starting field position for the Gators. But they had good starting field position last time and gave it away on the fake punt attempt, the failed fake punt attempt on fourth down.
Yeah, Stammer about 34 yards here, but still good. See that double team block there. But good starting position. Now Smith's got to make a couple passes here. We've seen a couple of the short stuff. Smith been able to run the last half, but now he's got to be able to connect. He's had a couple of misses. Now you got to fine-tune those mistakes and come up with a play or two here.
Especially now trailing in the second half, 6:42 remaining in the third quarter. Not desperation time by any means.
No.
But you need 2 scores, maybe need a stop. The really long drives that Gateway had been executing early and couldn't finish off, maybe won't do it at this point. Get the ball out quickly to Stammer. Some blocks develop on that jailbreak screen. and a nice little gain of about 8 or 9 yards.
Pass is complete to Stammer.
We'll set up Gateway nicely, 4 second and short, maybe a chance to take a shot here.
Yeah, those quick outs, they've been hit or miss. They've worked sometimes and they haven't worked sometimes. But I think right now the biggest point of this is it seems like Gateway's trying to play away from this D-line. We've talked about how good this D-line is up front for Plum. Houston obviously has not been able to run very well, but we also haven't seen a whole lot of Dancier, as we talked about. I'd like to see him a little bit more, Julian Dancier.
Play action, throw over the middle. Moorefield makes the grab, breaks a tackle. Landen Ekiert trying to rip the ball away, not going to do it, and a nice big gain for Gateway on 2nd and short. Another completion from Smith to Moorefield over the middle, and that's maybe been what's been most effective for Gateway all evening.
Yeah, right up that slot, up the seam there. A little
34.
Little cut in, and Moorefield, really good hands.
Yeah, nice grab. He dropped one early in the first half after missing the first 2 games of the season. He's back, and maybe he's shaking off that rust now in the second half.
Yeah, big pickup there.
Quarterback draw, it looked like that time, but the blocking just not there for Smith, and he's taken down behind the line of scrimmage.
Very good read and push up front from Plum here, especially after that pass. You thought they'd be a little bit more off, but that D-line just holding really strong. Plum really has to start respecting a little bit more of the pass, because if Smith can complete a couple more of those passes, really opening up more of a 2-dimensional offense.
Smith had to turn his back after that snap, a little drag route to Stammer. Looked like he caught it and then it dropped. I'm not sure if they're going to call it incompletion or a fumble. It'll be about the same spot anyways, as it was recovered very quickly by Trayshawn Little, the sophomore offensive lineman.
I don't think Stammer was ever even looking until that ball was already out of the hands of Smith. So quick reaction from Stammer to grab it, and then obviously it pops out there.
3rd and long here, kind of in no man's land too. A situation where you could punt it away, certainly, if you don't pick this up, but out of range of a field goal, kind of playing the field position game if they can't gain a big chunk here. From the shotgun, Smith looking to the far side, a low throw. Not sure if Ekiert got a hand on it or not. We'll take a look at the replay, but he was looking for Stammer over the middle.
Yeah, good look for Smith. Looks like he looks off one option and then finds Stammer going in the middle, just a little low. Ekiert, of course, right there in the area, as you mentioned. But you needed to pick up, maybe go with a little bit of a shorter play, pick up just a couple yards, so that way you have a little bit more of a manageable 4th down situation. And right now, I mean,
looks like they're leaving the offense out there, and this offense will be tested with a new center coming in for Roberson Louis-June. Looks like maybe he lost his helmet last play and had to come out for a play. Julius Clark in now at center, the sophomore. See how he holds up against this vaunted defensive line. And not very well. Quick pressure from Smith, who's looking to throw it deep to the end zone. Moorefield overshot him. And it'll be a turnover on downs.
It was a good look. I mean, Moorefield here, take a look at this play develop, but as he goes off the screen, a little fake to the corner, then hits the post route. And man, if Smith can lead him more to that left side, as you see there, just a little dig to the outside, then he stops. Didn't even see that part of it. Moorefield slows down. He keeps running, and if Smith can lead him more into the end zone instead of out of the back of the end zone, but it's a tough throw because you're coming a little bit more across your body with that throw if you're going to that corner of the end zone. And that's the second play in about 2 drives where we've seen where if Smith just leads him a little bit more to the right, it could be a big catch.
Completion over the middle. Nonnenberg to Brendan Marston. Had a grab in the first half, just a 2-yard gain on that one. This time, quite a bit more over the middle, and Nonnenberg looks really comfortable.
Yeah, he's coming along at the perfect time, and in this game where it's been tough, and we talked about it is a rivalry game. These two teams play each other quite a bit, but
he's also been out on the field. In the first half, Gateway's offense was out there for nearly the entire time, it felt like.
And Marston, a guy really not heard his name called a ton.
Nonnenberg going to keep it bouncing into the outside. There is a flag down, but a nice little gain there before Tristan Houston brings him down. Dan Sear was there as well. See what this flag is, and a player down for Plum, an offensive lineman it looks like, and that's big trouble for the Mustangs. That's been really their strength. He's going to be holding, and this one will back up. Maybe just a cramp. That's certainly the hope for the Mustangs after that one. Trying to get a look at who the player was down.
I think it was Matt Nelson, the right guard for Plum.
Take a look at the play. Number 54 right there, I believe that was him as well. Hopefully just a cramp and not getting rolled up on. Looks like he grabbed for that calf right away.
Yeah.
So that's probably a good sign, especially if they're stretching him out. So not good news that you lose your starting right guard, but it is good news if it's just a cramp and something that they can work out and he can come back from.
And as we talked, I mean, this offensive line for Plum, really senior heavy led. Seniors across the board.
Taking a look at the upcoming Gateway schedule. Kiski next week. Have that for you here on Gateway Gator Productions on YouTube. And then at Franklin Regional, conference play starting next week with Kiski. Then at Franklin Regional, Armstrong at home, at Penn Trafford, Woodland Hills at home, and then ending the season with back-to-back road matchups at Latrobe and at Hempfield. So another tough 6A matchup to end the season for Gateway, and then a look at the schedule for Plum as well. Obviously that 1-1 start with that high-scoring overtime loss to Latrobe last week. At Gateway this week, of course, then at Shaler, at Pine Richland. So that's definitely going to be a tough test on the road against the Rams in this 5A Northeast section. Penn Trafford, North Hills at home, at Fox Chapel, Kiski area in a 5A non-conference matchup near the end of the season, and then Penn Hills the final week of the year. This Plum team, though maybe not on a Pine Richland caliber, right? That's certainly the favorite in that conference. Looking like a team that could probably be in contention for a playoff spot in 5A and throw some punches in that Northeast Conference.
Absolutely. I mean, they're a little bit of an underdog, a little bit of a sleeper in that conference, and last year going 2-3, and one of those wins in section play came against Shaler, and they kick things off next week in section play against Shaler, and then they also beat Fox Chapel last year. So if you can squeak out 1 or 2 more wins, I mean, Pine's obviously going to be really tough, but maybe North Hills get a win. I mean, Plum could be one of the top teams right there behind Pine Richland. Pine Richland really has a lot of good players on that team, so that one's always going to be a tough matchup. The defending 5A champs.
Plum backing it up even more. We're now looking at a 1st and 25 from their own 45-yard line. They need to get to the Gateway 30 for a conversion. Nonnenberg looking to get it all at once and overshoots his receiver. Trying to get Cameron Wilson to work back out towards the boundary. Nice coverage there on the perimeter.
Yeah, thrown a little bit to the back shoulder of his receiver, but thought maybe Gateway got away with a little bit of a tug on the shoulder pad.
Sophomore Nazir Diggs was in coverage.
Yeah. We haven't defensively seen Carlos Diggs out here. Speaking of Diggs, and
he's a big playmaker on both sides of the ball.
Absolutely, main commit, Division I guy, but he was questionable coming into this one, and obviously we have not seen him.
CJ on the outside. CJ Hart gets a lot of that penalty yardage back, nearly all of it. Going to set up about a 3rd and 11, and considering it was 1st and 25, that feels manageable.
Yeah. A lot better than where they were, but there's just another quick swing pass. It's worked a couple of times in this game, but taking a peek down to the sideline, you do see Carlos Diggs not dressed, so obviously a big hole in that secondary. Nazir Diggs, a younger player on this Gateway defense, but realistically, I mean, Plum has not worked the sidelines a whole lot. It's been more over the middle. Humphries' touchdown, and then Robinson's touchdown, caught over the middle, and then taking it to the outside. So they really haven't targeted the corners too much.
Nonnenberg, maybe he'll do it here, stepping up, flush through the pocket, looking downfield, across the line of scrimmage, throws across his body. We'll see if a flag comes out. That might have been an illegal forward pass. Regardless, it's going to set up 4th down, and Plum is sending out its punting unit. That didn't go well last time, a very short punt that set up Gateway with good field position. This time, though, with a 16-7 lead for the Mustangs. Moorefield back to return.
Now, as Plum shooting themselves mainly in the foot on this drive, but still a better response from Gateway to at least get Plum offense off the field and get your unit back out on the field to try to get some points. Got to be careful.
See if that touched a Gateway player. It may have. And they signal a touchdown. I think that went off the back of, maybe it was Jaden Stammer, whoever the gunner was. For Gateway, I think it went off his heel, bounded past Moorefield, and it was picked up and returned. Rocco Lamia, the sophomore. Take a look at this replay. This will be important.
Ooh.
And it looks like it wasn't Stammer.
Wow, I don't know if that ever touched anyone there.
Eric Dawkins was the closest to it. I'm not sure it touched anyone either.
Oh.
The officials down on the field do not have the benefit of the review like we have. I'd love to get another look at it if we could. I'm not sure that ever went off of Dawkins' leg. It bounced like it did, like it would have, but I'm not sure.
First down.
It's going to set up a first down, not a touchdown. And now it's Hanslick in at quarterback for Plum. So it's going to be 1st and goal. They haven't taken the points off the scoreboard, so it was 2-point conversion. And it's good. The announcer in stadium had signaled first down, I believe, but 2-point conversion rather, so the touchdown does stand, clearing things up. CJ Hart rumbles in for the 2-point conversion, and now it's going to be...
What a weird sequence that's going on here, because off the...
Now it's looking like they're setting up for an extra point, so that was first down. That was a touchdown for CJ Hart.
Well, because originally...
I thought like you did, but it was further than a 2-point conversion would have been.
Unless they blew it dead once.
So they're saying it can't advance the fumble, potentially. Potentially the thought is
punt.
Can't advance that fumble, which I'm not sure that would be the rule, but maybe he was just pushed out of bounds before. Regardless, the score is the same, 23-7. Plum leads after Kolankowski knocks it through for the extra point. Quite a sequence there. CJ Hart will be awarded with the touchdown. The return by Rocco Lamia, or the recovery by Rocco Lamia rather, off of what I'm not sure should have been a fumble in the first place. Moorefield was back to receive. It looked like it potentially bounded off of Eric Dawkins, and let's take a look at it. Did it hit Dawkins? Did it hit Moorefield? Didn't hit Dawkins, and maybe it hit Moorefield's hand as it went through his legs.
I mean, of course, that side judge is right there.
He's going to have the best angle on it.
But then, as pointed out to us, you cannot advance the muff punt. So that obviously set up the Plum opportunity there. Once it's picked up, you start the next play at the point of recovery. So
from the 4-yard line, and Hart finished it off.
Either way, Plum back in the end zone on just a terrible miscue by Gateway.
Been a couple of those. A big return this time. An opportunity for Nazir Diggs, the sophomore who made a nice play in coverage on that defensive possession. Had a lane and made the most of it.
Gateway's return unit's been pretty good. They've been
had good field position.
Yeah, they've been picking up some good yardage, and now you got right at the 42 is where they're going to mark it. But man, I mean, for Gateway, that's just a tough blow. The muff punt, the turnover there, because Plum a little undisciplined on that last drive. A couple penalties backed them up for that long first down play. They get a couple yards back, but then have to punt. And you're looking at only a 9-point game after the mixed extra point too. So just a tough sequence, tough turn of events for Gateway right now.
And now a change at quarterback. Mayson Mitchell, the freshman, relieving Jackson Smith. His first throw out to Moorefield, who breaks a couple of tackles, stepped out of one ankle tackle, broke another, and he's still up. Has a convoy heading towards the near side. Could be a big play for Moorefield. Has blockers, and he's into the end zone. Shawn Moorefield makes up for the big mistake that gave up a touchdown the other way. And Mayson Mitchell's first pass attempt of the night goes for a touchdown.
Mayson Mitchell.
What a quick strike from Gateway. It's exactly what they needed.
Wow, Moorefield absolutely making up for that mistake. Calling his own number, that quick pass, and as that play was unfolding, I'm just thinking Gateway needs someone that can make a huge play after the catch, and there it was. Moorefield just not going down, continuing to keep that play alive, switching and reversing fields. What an
Let's count how many tackles he breaks.
All-out effort
on this one.
Moorefield.
As Stricklin is down with a cramp. 1, 2. We'll count those as evaded or broken tackles. 3, 4. At least 4 Plum players got their hands on Moorefield. He avoided quite a few more. And then the blocking downfield. And Mayson Mitchell was part of the convoy. The freshman quarterback getting involved as a blocker after making that completion. And how about that? He debuted last week in relief of Koutsakis. It wasn't the prettiest debut, of course, against North Allegheny. And that's a tall task for a freshman. Now at home, his first pass attempt here at Antimarino Stadium goes for a touchdown. He's involved blocking downfield. Excellent effort, and just exactly what Gateway needed from one of their top playmakers.
I mean, if you're head coach Don Hall, I mean, you have to be really, really pleased with the effort here at this point in the game because, after that muff punt, after that touchdown, these guys could have crawled into a hole and not have responded with the way they are. But credit to the quarterbacks, both Jackson Smith and Mayson Mitchell. And, you pointed out here, Mitchell finally starts going right around here and gets downfield to block. But, I mean, you got 2 quarterbacks now that will put themselves on the line to make plays. We saw Jackson
both touchdowns for Gateway.
2 tough runs early in the game from Smith, and then came up with that long touchdown run, bleeding down his forearm. And now you got Mayson Mitchell jumping up in the play and
blocking
down,
C.J. Hart.
Probably the biggest block, because Moorefield obviously did the rest with all the broken tackles, but maybe he's stopped at the 5-yard line if Mayson Mitchell is not able to throw that block, and he does.
And with the problems that Gateway's had in the red zone, it's important that he wasn't stopped at the 5-yard line because they've struggled when they've gotten into those close quarters near the end zone, don't have the same verticality maybe to the offense. They thrive in space, clearly, as we saw with Moorefield there. And Stricklin's still down. He was very tired after that interception in the first half. Obviously, he's had a halftime to get some fluid, some electrolytes in, but cramping up quite a bit. The second member of the Plum offensive line that we've seen dealing with cramps. And we'll take a look at the Big East Conference standings with Gateway at 0-2. Obviously, no one in conference play. Penn Trafford off to a good start, 2-0. But everyone else kind of bunched up in the middle. And this was a conference last year that was fairly bunched up as well, with a few teams emerging, but not a true powerhouse, maybe, if you will, in the conference.
And in years past, even before that, I mean, Gateway has been a team that has produced a lot of players, has been one of the top teams in the WPIAL and 5A, and just obviously a couple down years and Don Hall's tenure here, but just trying to gain some momentum throughout the season. And even if you don't come out on top, showing this type of effort, I mean, what does that tell you about your quarterback play? You have your starting quarterback out for this game, and who knows how long, and now you've got 2 quarterbacks that have shown some good stuff. Obviously, Mitchell, just one quick pass, but he got a little bit of work last game as well.
23-14. Far from over tonight, especially the way this second half has gone so far. And Gateway, maybe offensively for stretches, right? Like Plum, it's explosive plays. It's taking advantage of an interception by Smith on a screen pass. That was just a great play by Stricklin. It's taking advantage of a muffed punt. Gateway's consistently moved the ball, and they've just kind of shot themselves in the foot. So maybe if you can take away those mistakes, you're in a deficit now because of it. You could claw out of it.
And again, I feel like you talked about the consistency, at least on offense, to move the ball, whereas Plum has been just more big strikes. You know, when you get an opportunity, if you're down by 1 score here in the 4th quarter, you can have your offense go out there, chew up the clock, and really get a good, substantial drive and put yourself with an opportunity to win at the end.
It's got to start with a stop here, and the Gateway offense taking the field after that short return from Samaj Robinson. Got up just past the 20-yard line.
First down.
Good kick coverage today for Gateway. Haven't had to do it very much because Mikulandrich has been sending them through the end zone for a touchback.
And I know we just talked about Gateway slowing things down and just picking up some chunk yards and getting a good drive going, but how about Plum? Maybe you don't need the big shot right here. You're up by 9. This could be a really good opportunity for you to take a ton of time off the clock. You're all the way at the 23. Got a long ways to go down the field.
Pitch that time to Jackson, running a little option play from under center with Nonnenberg.
Hart, the carrier. Stop by 55.
Was interested to see if it was going to be Hanslick back out there at quarterback. Not that Nonnenberg hasn't played well, but Hanslick's the one who handed it off to Hart for the touchdown after the muffed punt. But it is Nonnenberg back out there, that time under center, and it will be 2nd and 10 now. Back from the shotgun, flanked by Jackson. Trips into the boundary. Nonnenberg gave it to Jackson. Wasn't sure if he pulled it or not. Going to be a short gain.
Yeah, just not a huge gain there.
Stop by
On 2nd down, and now 3rd down and long for Plum, in this game clock and play clock just about 3 seconds apart. So one final play here in the 3rd quarter.
And it's been 3rd and long quite a bit for Plum. It's felt like, at least.
And big key here for Gateway is to defend the middle here. I mean, Plum has found a way to leverage that inside pretty well.
Nonnenberg pumps left, throws over the middle. Nobody there. Not on the same page with Robinson, who was looking around for it.
4th down.
Trying to hit a strike up the seam. Incomplete, and that'll set up 4th down and send out the punt unit with the clock stopped at 6.1 seconds remaining in quarter number 3. Another opportunity for Moorefield to maybe get his hands on the ball. It's going to be Stammer, actually. Moorefield waving Stammer back out there to be the returner.
Punt formation.
Nearly blocked. Houston was in there. Gateway just hoping to get out of the way of this one. After the mishap last time, it'll eventually settle around the 36-yard line. Decent starting field position once again for Gateway. And another opportunity for Mayson Mitchell when we come back in the 4th quarter. What are we expecting here from the freshman quarterback? We've seen one play, right? It was a great play with the quick completion to Moorefield and then the downfield block. Are we thinking maybe they're going to unleash the kid a little bit more because they got to dig out of this deficit? You got to throw some strikes downfield.
Yeah, obviously we have not seen him much. He had 8 pass attempts last game, but I feel like, I mean, you got 12 minutes to work with, and you're down by 2 scores here. You may see a little bit of what we saw from Jackson Smith early on. A couple of quick passes, get things moving. But also, I think they need to get back to establishing the ground game a little bit up the middle. I know it's been tough sledding there, and I know Plum has played pretty stout there in the interior of that D-line, but both Houston and Dan Sear, you've got to get a good push up front.
They were running the ball well early in the 1st quarter, especially, and then it became kind of the Jackson Smith show on the ground before Mayson Mitchell came in to relieve him.
And you got Houston out there as the tailback. on this drive, and running up the middle behind Robertson, Louis June, and some of those big O linemen. And we talked about how Gateway's had to dip into the bag a little bit of O linemen this year.
Mitchell gets slammed to the ground, got it off in time, nearly intercepted by Ekiert. It was Smith in there. We haven't called his name in a little bit, but Mitchell just not sensing the pressure. That's something we said Smith did really well.
Yeah, Jackson Smith did a real good job of feeling that pressure. Just a slow developing play. You just never saw it from Smith on that right side.
Especially with the designed pump to the left, you're not going to get your eyes back in time, especially when you're looking to complete that pass over the middle.
And I didn't get a chance to see where Houston went after that, if he was there to pick up a block or if he flew out of there to give him another option. And that may be the case where you have to keep Houston back there as an extra blocker.
Pass goes to Stammer. It's incomplete. That'll set up 3rd and 10.
Just another quick pass out, and Mitchell, you wonder if maybe he's a little shaken after that first play from Kenneth Smith coming in there quickly. Felt a little bit of pressure maybe there again, and just a low throw, just unable to connect. And maybe it was better off that it wasn't connected, because it might have been a 2 to 3 yard loss.
Especially a low throw like that. Not sure Stammer was going to make anyone miss, as he has most of the evening. 3rd and 10 now. Mitchell looking over the middle, throws it into traffic. Moorefield had fallen down. A couple of Plum defenders were there. Tyler Boleno nearly came away with the interception, and that, after throwing a touchdown on his first pass attempt, that was a shaky drive from Mitchell.
Yeah, just a little hesitant from Mitchell here. Of course, it didn't help that Moorefield fell down up the field. He tries to look off one play, little pump fake there, and then there's pressure again from Kenneth Smith. And here's a good look of Moorefield, quick, just deep cut, and then just slid right on the Gateway Gator G right at midfield.
Smith back in to send that punt away. Gets a friendly bounce for Gateway, and it'll settle around the 26-yard line. Sloan Humphries got out of the way of it.
I'd be very interested, though, to see, obviously Plum out here right now, but next time Gateway's on the field on offense, to see what they do quarterback-wise, because Jackson Smith was standing there with his helmet on. So, of course, not entirely sure what, the decision-making is right now, after Smith has played rather well.
Just missed a couple of those deep shots, and maybe getting into the 4th quarter, you got to throw the ball downfield a little bit more. That could be factoring into the thought process. Nonnenberg flanked by Hart. The give is to Hart. And in there very quickly, Michael Burroughs, the sophomore linebacker. First we've called his name, and a nice play.
Gateway's going to have some other guys step up. We've talked about Hall off the edge, Jackson Smith in the middle, and Bondi, of course. But good play for Burroughs to come up in there, get that tackle for a loss, 2-yard loss.
Nonnenberg motions Humphries across the formation, looking that way. That was the first play of the game that they drew up. Didn't connect on it that time. Maybe it would have been better if they didn't this time around either, as Humphries is blown up quickly by Dansier.
Yeah, Dansier reading that one all the way. Just Humphries sitting down in that flat, and Dansier with a burst to get up there. Good closing speed, didn't let Humphries make a play.
Gateway's tackled pretty well.
They have. And all in all, Gateway's defense, I thought, has played reasonably solid. I mean, you take away the 2 big strikes, and then it was a special teams gaffe. So 2 touchdowns for the Gateway defense allowed here.
Nonnenberg escaping up the middle. Makes a couple men miss. He's got the first down. Eventually brought down by Ian Woods. And as we talk about the Gateway tackling, some troubles that time. corralling the slippery 170-pound quarterback who's listed at 6'1". I'm not so sure about that. Certainly an undersized player, but a nice little run.
Yeah, indeed. And we haven't seen a ton of running from Nonnenberg so far this game.
Hanslick in at quarterback now with a full house backfield. The give is to Jackson to the left side. Hit by Burroughs quickly, making another play from his linebacker spot. Second time we've seen Plum line up with that kind of formation. Maybe they like Hanslick a little better if they want to play some triple option football or a little something like that.
Yeah, and of course for Gateway, you got to be disciplined. You see that formation, but maybe a little play action, he pops a pass out. Maybe that's what they're trying to lead up to here.
Gateway's played the option well so far when it's been Nonnenberg. Similar look, jumbo set from the Mustangs. The give is to Hart on the counter. A little bit of room to run, but not much. It disappeared quickly. Looked like there was a lane developing. Burroughs in the mix again. A thumper from the second level.
We've talked a lot about Gateway's running attack, staying away from the middle of the defense, but Plum has not had much success either, going straight up the gut. A lot of their plays have come to the perimeter in the run game.
Senag Bodzi on the edge. He's been maybe not the pass rusher that they have on the other side in Wendell Hall, but he's been good shedding blocks on the strong side. Humphries motions across the formation. Nonnenberg looking that way. He's flushed. Jackson Smith in pursuit. Throw over the middle. Samaj Robinson makes the grab and a third down conversion that was much needed by Plum. Dancier brings Robinson down for no yards after the catch, but a nice play by Nonnenberg.
Yeah, what a play by Nonnenberg to escape that pressure because Louis Jones was right there on his heels. And just a good pass to find Humphries. Humphries stays alive, gets open in that secondary. Picks up the first down too.
And Plum tried something there with the jumbo package, the full house backfield, and Hanslick in at quarterback. But I think that's exactly why you keep Nonnenberg on the field. 7:30 remaining in quarter number 4. The give is to Hart on the perimeter, trying to get the edge, and a really nice tackle by Tristan Houston. Hart at 6'1", 210. He's a load to bring down, but Gateway's done a really nice job chopping him down low. Houston that time making a nice tackle.
And for the most part, a lot of these first downs for Plum have been negative yards.
Yeah.
Gateway has done a good job on first, maybe even second down.
Well, that's when they're trying to run the ball.
Yeah,
they played the run really well.
Yeah, pushing them back a little bit, and then it's just those third and long, and Plum been able to convert, time after time for the most part, at least on this drive, a couple of long conversions. See if Gateway can come up with a big stand here. 2nd
and 12. Nonnenberg looking to throw. Has Humphries over the middle, and he dropped it. He had a lot of room to run, and I think he knew it.
Yeah, one of those cases where it turned the head a little bit too soon before you look in the ball.
See a lot of green grass and start thinking big things before you reel it in.
Ugh.
That's a break for Gateway. It'll set up 3rd and 12.
And here we go again. Gateway, you're handed a gift there.
Yeah.
Now you got to really come up with a stop. And 3rd down, hasn't been the strong suit so far for the Gators.
Houston follows Robinson in motion. Try to get the throw to the outside, but it's batted down. A nice play on 3rd down defensively by Gateway, and they're going to get off the field.
Really just been impressed by this front seven, and there's Hall, especially that defensive line. Hall with the bat down, and they've just seemed to get better and better as this game has gone along. And now you get a big stop there. I mean, time not necessarily on your side, but you get the ball back here for Gateway. You just got to string a couple plays together and just start moving down the field. But you got to start doing it in a little bit more of a hurry.
Hobart to send it deep, a better punt that time. Moorefield not even going to head into the area, but maybe he should have, as that one's down at the 2-yard line. And that makes matters even worse for Mayson Mitchell and this Gateway Gators offense. Understandable maybe that Moorefield just wants to get out of the way of that one, hope it bounds into the end zone. Checked up really nicely for Hoberg, and another unfortunate break on special teams. That's really been where Plum has separated itself. It's been in the special teams game, third phase of the game.
Yeah, and it's surprising because Gateway has had a couple of good returns on kickoffs. But yeah, right, I mean, that muff punt was critical in this game. Of course, basically, the difference maker at this point, because if not, you're at, what, a two-point game?
And then a missed field goal as well. That would make it just a one-score game, that missed field goal from the first quarter by Gateway.
And this is the drive. You're staring down 98 yards if you're Gateway to at least get in the end zone and score here.
That pass into the end zone, Moorefield barely gets out. That's a scary screen to throw, but you're worried about your quarterback throwing downfield. Haven't had much traction in the run game. Nearly a safety.
And here's just where you question why you're not just at least trying to run the ball up the middle. Like they've really stayed away from that area. And of course, they were shut down early, but what does it hurt at this point to try to get a few yards, maybe even put Mitchell under center and get a push, a little QB sneak to get out of this part of the field. Going
under center right now. The give is to Houston straight up the gut, halfback dive. Doesn't get a whole lot.
Better than nothing, better than what that first play was.
Maybe a little bit of breathing room because Mitchell's probably going to have to look downfield here on third down. And then you really have a decision, down 2 scores. Little over 5 minutes remaining.
And just, you know, questioning that play call on the first down. I mean, that was on the 2-yard line. He picked up, what, 2 to 3 there. Maybe gets you out to the 5 or 6. Instead, you're still in the 4. And it's not like Plum's stacking the box either.
No.
They're not, you know, taking away the run.
4. The give to the inside. Houston just nothing doing. Got wrapped up at the ankles. Big number 77, that's Frank Azulis. They're all conference center on the other side of the ball. How about a nose tackle on the defensive side? A big stop there. Now the punting unit comes on for Gateway. You really have no choice backed up like this, but you hate to send the ball back to Plum.
Yeah, but Gateway's defense at least has held their own here, other than, as we talked, I mean, really 2 big strikes throughout this entire game. But right here, I mean, so tricky. Anytime you're in your end zone trying to punt, think Plum might bring it here. No, they're going to back off.
Smith didn't get a good one off. It'll roll past the 30, but Plum's going to set up shop at about the 33-yard line. Really, field position's not that much of their concern. What they want to do is just salt away as much of this this game clock as they possibly can. 4:14 remaining here in the fourth quarter. Gateway with only 2 timeouts. Plum with their full allotment.
I mean, realistically, a first down pretty much puts this game away. I mean, the Gateway defensive line has played really solid all game long. Now it's up to them to come up with 3 plays in a row to try to stop Plum from any yardage.
Give is to Jackson up the middle. He stood up.
Jackson
continues. Gateway just not giving up much ground on the interior.
I think you can chalk that one up as a win on first down for the Gateway D line. Only about 2 yards there. So now 2nd and 8. This clock continues to roll.
Louis June there. Nonnenberg back in shotgun. 3:34 when the snap goes off. Nonnenberg's going to keep it. And what a tackle by the sophomore, Michael Burroughs. He continues to make big plays from his linebacker spot in this second half. Timeout called by Gateway.
Yeah, I think that's the appropriate time to call that timeout, but Burroughs, I mean, credit to that Gateway defense, staying home, not getting fooled. At least, you know, those linebackers, especially Burroughs, not able to get fooled there and come up and make that play and doesn't get anything. So here you go, 3rd and 8.
It's exactly what you wanted if you're Gateway punting that away.
Maybe gets
a quick stop.
Maybe gets a yard. Still have 3rd and 8 on the board, but and still you're pretty far for a field goal either. If you can stand up here and make a stop if you're Gateway, can keep points off the board. Now you're setting up for a 4th down. If you're not going to kick it, of course, Plum's probably going to try to go for it unless they really want to try to pin you within the 5-yard line. But
not much room for a punt at this point, possibly. And they had a good one last time. It'll be decision time for sure.
And up by 9 points, I mean, I think Matt Morgan's just going to call it as it is and just go for it and try to just get out of here with the win, up by 9, and not put the ball back in Gateway's hands.
It gives to Hart on the counter. Not exactly a clean exchange between he and Nonnenberg, and then thrown down by Agbodzi. He's been very solid along the defensive line. It's going to be 4th and 5. Timeout called by Gateway. Exactly what you got to do if you're Don Hall. And it looks like a player down, Agbodzi, after making that tackle, down in a lot of pain. And that would certainly be a big loss, especially if Plum is thinking about going for it on 4th down.
Yeah, and you were right, though, off that exchange, not clean. I mean, Nonnenberg was a little frustrated with whatever, happened there, transpired on the handoff, either, the wrong play call, miscommunication from the running back there.
Maybe Nonnenberg even wanted to pull it out.
Yeah, because he started to look like he wanted to run with it. But honestly, that was probably the better call to give that off, because I don't think Nonnenberg was going anywhere anytime soon.
Visit the website at gatewayk12.org.
If you are Plum,
Don't forget exclusive
5 yards for the game. With the way Nonnenberg's played, with the way he's been able to create outside of the pocket, it looks like they're going to keep the offense out there and try to end it on the field right now.
And I think it wouldn't be the worst play in the world to maybe roll Nonnenberg here out of the pocket, give him the opportunity to either run or hit someone like Humphries just on a quick pass.
Sloan Humphries going in motion. Trips to the top of the screen now.
Almost got them to jump off sides.
Looking to get a free 5, and maybe that was the plan all along. Play clock under 10 seconds now, and it's going to be a timeout by Plum. They were just trying to get a free 5. Not a bad thought at that point, but good discipline by Gateway. They were disciplined against all the option stuff in the run game, and then they're not being drawn off sides.
Yeah, we'll see, though, what happens here after the timeout, because still think you could come out here and, try to run an offensive play and just seal it right here. I mean, Gateway's offense has not shown much here in this latter half of the second half.
Barring the one explosive play from Moorefield.
Yeah, so, and plus you're up by 2 scores. Gateway would have to go down, get in the end zone, then get the ball back. But right here, if you get this 1st down, it's over.
Yeah.
You punt it away, you give them still an opportunity.
We don't have the book, as they say, the analytics book up here with us, but I imagine if you're going by the book, you're probably going for it here, like you said, being aggressive. But it looks like the kicker is going to be out there. A long field goal attempt for Kolankowski. It's already a 2-score game.
From the 35-yard line.
Looking to make it 26-14. So making a 2-score game with the risk of this being blocked or something else on a long attempt. A low kick with a lot of leg, but it's no good. And Gateway's going to take over with good field position. I would have left the offense out there.
Yeah, I'm a little confused on maybe why that was the play call, because at least even if Nonnenberg or if they hand it off gets 2 to 3 yards there, at least you get a couple yards, and you have Gateway more field that they have to work down. Now you put them at what we're at the 31 right now.
Looks like they're setting up the sticks at the 20, but I don't believe that.
Well, there's your
So
answer. There's your answer to the play call.
Yeah,
Why they decided to kicking. Because either way, it
If you're
goes to the
starting
20.
at the 20, then it's worth the kick attempt. Moorefield motioning in the backfield, a flag coming in. And it's looking like potentially a delayed game.
Delay the game. 5 yards against the offense. Welcome back again.
Not the start you want if you're Mayson Mitchell and Gateway, but that's what happens when you have a freshman quarterback out there.
And ever since Mitchell went in, things have not gone as smoothly. So still interested. Love to know the reasoning of why maybe Smith has not gone in under center.
Let's give a big round of applause.
Play action fake, looking downfield. Has a receiver, it's Ekiert. Gains a little bit more and gets out of bounds. So a nice throw there from Mitchell. 3:06 remaining.
Pass complete to Ekiert.
Good little route out of the backfield. Ekiert wide open. Plum never accounted for him. Good pickup from the Gators.
Getting it out quick. And a pitch back to Ekiert. Does he have the edge? No, he doesn't. I like the play call. You got to get some trickeration in there, but just couldn't get to the perimeter for Ekiert. And Gateway's got to work quickly as the clock continues to tick. Now 2:45. Take a look at it as Gowder pitched it back and tried to get a block on the outside by Nazir Diggs, but just couldn't land it to spring Ekiert.
If Nazir Diggs was a little bit more inside there, could have blocked a little bit better, given more of an opening.
Gowder brought down on that quick screen, a short gain. Clock continues to run.
And here's what worked early for Jackson Smith and Gateway early on was getting that ball out of your hands, and that's what Mitchell needed to do. And he came in a tough spot. I mean, getting thrown in here when the game's on the line.
Got to push something downfield soon. Still a 2-score game. Just above 2 minutes to the outside. Moorefield trying to let his block develop. Brought down across the 50-yard line. Nice little gain on third down. That'll keep the chains moving, but the clock ticking as well once they set the chains.
They're starting to move this offense along, but at some point here, I mean, the clock is your enemy, and you have to go vertical. At some point here, maybe set one up with a play fake, short, and then go long. Someone maybe in the slot, Moorefield in the slot.
Mitchell takes a snap, gets it out quick to Stammer, trying to work to the sideline. Best he can do is get out of bounds. At least that'll stop the clock, 1:27.
Stop by Hensley.
Good little chunk there for Gateway, and credit to Stammer to fight over to get out of bounds. Getting that clock to stop.
2nd and 7. Mitchell looking to the sidelines, along with Ekiert in the backfield. Mitchell looking downfield, waiting for something to develop, and overshoots Nazir Diggs. Had him coming open towards the near sideline.
Yeah, as these plays have developed downfield, Gateway has gotten a little bit of separation. Just Mitchell, not sure how far he can really push it down the field here. You just see the inaccuracy a little high on that ball. Had another receiver higher in that route, further downfield, so not sure if maybe he was a little hesitant, not sure where he wanted to go with that ball.
Trying to find a hole in that zone coverage. Silver lining is it stopped the clock, minute 21. Needs a big play fake. Looking deep, pumps, and he'll throw to Moorefield on the post, down the middle. Ball comes free. A big hit in the secondary by Samaj Robinson coming across the field. And Moorefield is down. The call right now,
They're going to call it a catch.
Is a catch, and that Moorefield was down. It's going to be Gateway ball, 1st and goal. A nice little throw here from Mitchell. Take a look at the hit.
Yeah, he
was coming free. That was Tyler Boleno, who was there with Robinson in coverage as well.
And I just don't know if he took enough steps or made a football move to that being a completion in general.
But if it is, it's certainly a fumble.
Yeah.
So either way, an unfortunate break for Plum because they don't have the benefit of the review that we get to look at as Moorefield up and off the field.
Here's the play again, and here's what we were calling for. A little play fake, a little look outside, and then he comes in with that post route.
And the ball comes
safeties.
free there.
Yeah.
The ball's free by the time Moorefield's down on the ground. Casey Carter out onto the field now. Play clock, 10 on the play clock. Under a minute left on the game clock. Mitchell still barking orders, gets the snap away. Looking over the middle, incomplete to Nazir Diggs, trying to set up a little tunnel screen up the middle. Didn't get it to work. 46.7 left.
Yeah, even if he catches it here, he's not going anywhere there. Landen Ekiert, I believe that was, coming in to make that play, but
sniffed that out quickly.
But 2 plays in this game where little bang-bang plays and the referees have to make the call on the field. I mean, there's no second chance. You got that muff punt that you really couldn't tell. Did Moorefield touch it? And then here with this completion that they gave Moorefield here.
Play clock running down. Mitchell looking to get the snap off, not going to do it. Delay a game. Freshman quarterback having a freshman moment in a really big spot here. That'll back him up even further, as it looks like some rain's falling down on the field now.
Yeah, that's a tough one for Mitchell because you have the clock stopped. You weren't moving the ball anywhere, so you have plenty of time to get lined up. 20 seconds on this play clock, but now you give yourself a little bit more room to work with.
Mitchell under pressure quickly from C.J. Hart, looking downfield. Not going to get it away. Take a sack right there, and that's the worst thing you can do if you're Gateway. The clock continues to run. Under 30 seconds now. Mitchell trying to get him organized. He just has to clock it on 3rd and goal from the 15. Wasted down to stop the clock. Probably his best option after taking that sack, but that's a ball you got to get out of your hands.
Yeah, but I'll say he's rolling to that side of the field, and I just don't see anyone open down the field for the Gators in that area. He obviously rolled himself into one area and only had a certain area to throw, and Casey Carter was downfield and never separated to give himself an opportunity to at least throw the ball. But yeah, he should at least put it up there for someone to try to come up with a play, a little contested catch ball.
4th down.
26 seconds. Takes a shotgun snap, fakes the give to Dansier, flush to the right again. He's going to run, has some room to run, makes a couple. Plum Mustangs miss, reaches for the goal line.
Oh, wow.
They're going to say he stopped short, and that'll end the game.
Mitchell
Functionally,
stopped short
on
of the
4th
goal
and
line,
goal.
and it is a 1st down and goal to go.
Was it not goal to go already? A discussion, and Plum realizes that they just won this football game. That close to Mitchell giving his team a chance. Look at this run on 4th and goal from the 15.
For the Mustangs.
Makes a couple defenders miss. A really nice move there. Landen Ekiert in on the tackle.
Yeah, he's short.
And then it was Jaden Bruce, the freshman, number 13, making a huge stop. And for the first time since 2001, the Plum Mustangs have beaten the Gateway Gators. That time it was 34-7, a blowout in Plum's favor. This time, bit of a nail-biter, 23-14. Looks like it's going to be the final score, barring some chicanery with maybe a safety, as Plum's going to be backed up here with 13 seconds remaining. But that ends a 13-game win streak for Gateway in this rivalry.
You'd have to think maybe here you see one of those plays where you take the snap and just run around the end zone for a little bit if you're the quarterback. Nonnenberg just trying to waste time off this clock. But if Gateway gets a quick safety, then obviously, I mean, you got to kick off, and crazier things have happened. But But man, I mean, Mitchell in real time, it looked like Mitchell was a lot closer to that goal line than obviously the replay did show. Of course, about a full yard, maybe between a half and a full yard away from just reaching over that goal line. But great effort by Mitchell. But you know, a few plays before that, you got to be able to unleash that ball and find someone. Even if it's a quick route, even if they're not open, try to get it out and make a play.
And it's a quarterback sneak. And out of the end zone, that's going to do it. As you mentioned, for Mayson Mitchell, some freshman moments for the freshman quarterback, put in a really tough spot. Gateway now falls to 0-3 and has a lot of questions at the quarterback position with Elvis Koutsakis out with an injury. Don't know how long that's going to be. But do you ride with Jackson Smith? Do you go with the freshman Mayson Mitchell and see what he's got? On the other side, Plum, they get off the schneid in week 0. They beat Franklin Regional for the first time in the last 7 tries. They ended that losing streak. In this matchup, it's been 13 tries since they've beaten Gateway. 24 years. I'm 24 years old. I was born in 2001. They finally end that losing streak. So it looks like it could be the start of a special season for the Mustangs.
Yeah, we looked at the section. Yeah. We talked about Pine Ridge, but other than that, I mean, Plum has a chance in that section. And, you know, we asked Matt Morgan ahead of this game, you know, is there extra juice in this one? And he talked about, no, maybe this isn't much of a rivalry game because we have not competed. We have not won. Well, here it is. You finally win for the first time since 2001, and a good effort, but really relying on some big plays to get things done. Sloan Humphries, Robinson, the muffed punt leading to a touchdown. So some special teams magic per se, but all around Plum just opportunistic. Yeah. Capitalizing on big plays.
Yeah, Gateway, offensively, it wasn't a disaster for a team that only put up 14 points, that played 2 different quarterbacks without its starting quarterback. They made a lot of plays. They got into the red zone. A missed field goal early in this one that could have been important. That would have made that extension from Mayson Mitchell on the final play even that much more consequential if it was a 1-score game. So Gateway, after playing 2 really difficult 6A opponents to start the season, this team's close.
Yeah, there's some takeaways to come from this one, especially offensively. Jackson Smith showed some good stuff. Mayson Mitchell, there's some things to work with there as well, but you break that little shutout streak of 5 quarters, and you just started to see some things come together. Moorefield was back in action, so you get a piece back there as well.
Heading into conference play next week, we'll have it for you on Gateway Gators Productions. For tonight, that's going to do it. Have a great night. Thanks for watching with us. I'm Josh Yorish. That's Nathan Breisinger. Thanks so much. Have a good one from Gateway Gators Productions.